Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Hump freaking day! Yes! Welcome in! It is Wednesday, people, and we are hanging out with you. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. That's Barrett in the red hoodie. That is Derek in the gray Eddie Bauer. I am Rob. I went short sleeves, guys. Which way to the beach?
Man, you look like you just came off the beach, man.
I went short sleeves for the first time in the freezing cold home studio. It tells you how warm it is outside in our area. But what's up, fellas? How we doing?
Good, man. So how's the basement? Is the basement still cool or is it warmer because
basement
it's
is
warmer
still
outside?
The great thing about the basement is in the summertime when it's crazy hot.
Yeah,
man, it feels so good when you walk down the basement.
Yeah.
Like awesome. Like I forget it. It's really great. The tough thing is in the winter or like when it starts to get chilly in the fall, it can be a little nip down here. You know what I mean? It's not bad. Like today's good, man. Today's really good. Sometimes it all depends, but pretty comfortable. I'm liking it.
See, today's the day I should be outside on the deck doing this show.
Yes.
Instead of in here. You know, come to think of it, I may switch up here during one of the segments and just go sit outside. As
long as you have an umbrella where the sun isn't like crashing into your screen or you.
Well, I have an awning over the top so the sun. Yeah. You know what? I may have to do that. I may just slip outside one segment and just finish up the show from out there and be dodging bees because they got bees and wasps all over the place now. So you'll see me doing this for like about a half hour.
Right. I'm looking at the weather. Like you could do it tomorrow. You could do it Friday.
82 tomorrow, 83 Friday.
Ooh, it's gonna get a little chilly next week. So enjoy this week. That's all I'll tell you. Yeah.
It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah. You know what? I think I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay.
And if the
bees go fishing yesterday?
No, man, my son-in-law couldn't go. At the last minute, he couldn't go. He's got a problem. He just called me. He's bringing me all these shelves. You know, he got that. You've seen it, Barrett. They got a beautiful pole barn, 30 by 60 foot pole barn, and so they cleared out their storage units because before him and my daughter got married, they both had townhouses they sold, so they had 3 storage units full. So last fall we had 2 birthday parties in this pole barn. We had hibachi restaurant come out really good and do the food right there. They cook it right there for you. Yep. They have a catering service. So we had my oldest daughter's dinner out there for her birthday, and then her mother-in-law's out there a few months later. Dude, it was perfect. And they got those, you know, you go to those restaurants where they have those big heated lamps. Not lamps, what do you call those things?
Yeah.
Big heaters. Like they look like lamps, yeah.
So they had like 8 of those. Dude, it was like October, November, when it's cold outside. Man, we were sweating inside of there because it's so warm. They got me one. They bought me one for Christmas. I assembled it. And now that it's getting too warm, I might probably won't get to use it this summer. But, you know, those things generate a lot of heat. So they sent me a picture of the pole barn now because they dumped out all 3 of their storage units. You cannot even walk in the pole barn. Think about this, Barrett. You can't walk in. They have so much stuff in there. And they built shelves from floor to ceiling, like an L shape, down one wall and down another wall. Those are all already full, and they still have 3 storage units full. And so he's bringing me 10 shelves that are 4 feet wide, 72 inches long, that I need for my basement to get stuff out on the shelf. So he calls me today because he goes in there to start bringing out the shelves. There's wasps in the corner. Somehow wasps, and they did really good about insulate. There's wasps everywhere. So now he's got to call him. He's ducking wasps left and right. I'm like, dude, better you than me because I would take a shotgun out there, to be honest.
You guys should use your bug guns
bug assault.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
they don't work on walls.
They don't work on
walls.
They
don't. Okay.
If anything, you only pick them off.
Yeah.
You know,
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mosquitoes, flies. Yeah. I tried using one on beetles. I just want to see what it looked like. A beetle did like this and said, "What else you got?" I'm like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm done."
So, Fitness Rebel has a question. Waiting to hear who I'm going to get fired. All right. So after last night's game, If they're not listening, Paco Figueroa is the first base coach. He's basically the base running coach too. It is they meaning the Phillies. It's getting to a place now where it's beyond absurd. They've had 8 base runners thrown out, in the base paths, including last night, which was a rally killer. Like, I'm not calling for him to get fired, but I'm saying some kind of message isn't being delivered. He and Rob Thompson either aren't getting across to these guys the importance of this, because it's been going on for 11 games now, not 1 or 2 games. And or these guys aren't respecting their coaches. Something's got to give. Like, I don't want to sit Bryson Stott down. He's on fire. But something's got to give. Either you're going to start listening and doing what you're supposed to be doing in the base paths, or we can't play you. Like, something's got to give with the base run.
I think it's players being overzealous, trying to generate too much.
That's
but
exactly
you're right.
what it is.
Yeah,
coaches have
exactly
to rein that in.
Yeah.
I think coaches there's a reason you have a first base coach. You have to rein this stuff in. This is ridiculous. 8 times now in 11 games. Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Sometimes overdoing things is more of a detriment.
Yes.
Than not doing enough. Right now they're trying to go full speed. And sometimes that's what you do. When you in an athlete's mind, they think, all right, way I can make this, rewrite the ship and get me going in the right direction.
Yep.
It's to go out there and virtually do more. Try to give full and max effort. Try to exhaust every option. And sometimes it hurts you more so than it helps you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. And by the way, what's up, everybody in the chat section? What's up, everybody streaming, everybody listening? We always love hanging out with you on this Wednesday. So yeah, it's Phillies lose 8-4. They're 4-7 on the season. We'll get a little bit more into the Phillies in a minute, but it was a disappointing game. They play this afternoon at 4:00. Do the Phillies. So the Sixers are 3 days away from the playoffs finally starting. We're in the midst of the play-in games right now. Last night you had in the East, the Hawks beating the Heat. So the way it works is the Hawks now advance to play the Celtics, and the Heat have to go play whoever wins tonight's game between the Raptors and the Bulls to survive. And that'll be single elimination there. That game tonight is a single elimination because it's a 9-10 seed. I know it's confusing, but whoever loses the game between the Raptors and the Bulls is out. And then out west, the Lakers win in overtime. That was way more entertaining than the early game. The Lakers advance to take on the Grizz, and the T-Wolves now have to play the winner of the 9-10 game out west, which is New Orleans and Oklahoma City. So that's what we have in the NBA right now. That's kind of where things are, and the top 2 seeds just kind of wait. And now they know, at least one of them knows who they have as of right now. So that's where we're at there. NFL draft is 15 days away. Did you guys see this? Saquon will not sign the franchise tag and will not. Yeah. If you don't sign that, you can't report to any of the off-season activities.
I'm not surprised. Not surprised one bit.
I mean, why would he want to do that anyways? I guess to be around his teammates. He wants to really just, flex his muscle. Hey, I'm the best player you guys have on this team, and you guys put me on a franchise deal. You sign a quarterback that's less of a player than me. I did more than your quarterback, and you really going to put me on a franchise deal? Come on, get the hell out of here.
And they'll figure out a way to work it out. They'll work it out, because if you franchise tag them, basically you told him you're a vital cog in what we want to do moving forward. And like Barry said, when you look at he is the best offensive weapon they have, period.
Yes.
Bar none. So basically he's got them over a barrel. And players do this all the time. I mean, a lot of players refuse to report on the tag, and they eventually get it worked out. There's 3 options. Either play on the tag, you sit out the season, or you work it out and you move forward. And 9 times out of 10, they'll work it out and move forward. So I mean, his stance is not out of the norm. So
no, that's not. It's what happens.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything contentious with those guys, with the organization and Saquon. They've always had, kind of good relations there. So I think that part of it will get done. But it is interesting to see, what's happening there. Apparently, reportedly, he turned down. He's going to make 10 if he did sign a franchise tag. He would have made 10. He turned down a deal worth $12 million a year, a multi-year deal in November. The reports are he's looking for in the neighborhood of 14 per year.
Apples and oranges, it's all fruit to me, bro.
Yeah, look, I hear you. And we all know the hesitation from teams with running backs, but
Right.
This is where we are.
That's a great deal, man. 12 mil a year for a running back. The going rate right now, that's the highest. Really, he'll be paid. Will that be the highest paid running back?
Well, he doesn't want that. He wants 14.
Yeah, I'm saying, but the 12 will be the highest paid running back in the league, right?
What's Derrick Henry? Let me see where he's at. He might.
Let's see here.
Let's see. I'll check out Derrick Henry's.
Like when you look at it, look how much of the offense ran through him. I mean, they were running wildcat with him. They did everything with him. So, I mean, I understand why he's pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just looking at it from a $2 million standpoint. From a team perspective, why would you want to piss off your best player? You know, to me, it just doesn't make sense.
No.
Where he goes, this team goes.
Well, right now, Christian McCaffrey sits at the top of the list, $16 million.
Yeah.
Is Saquon better than Christian? Or they're two different kind of backs?
So. Well, they're two different kind of backs, but as far as I'll put it like this: Saquon can do everything Christian McCaffrey can do. He can do everything Christian McCaffrey can do, but Christian McCaffrey can do everything that Saquon Barkley does.
You think he's as good a receiver?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Saquon can catch, man. He's an all-purpose type of back. You know what I'm saying? He showed it last year. He did everything. I mean, running real routes. They put him out in the slot. He was their offense, especially for the first half of the season.
Well, I think the advantage that Saquon has is, unlike McCaffrey, who's got Deebo Samuel, who's got Ayuk, Kittle, et cetera, and it isn't, granted, the quarterback situation's iffy, but there's way less weapons in New York.
Yeah.
So Saquon has them. He has some leverage there, where, okay, I'm not, the agent says, well, if he's not there, what's Daniel Jones doing? Like, who's his, I mean, really think about it.
Well,
very little there.
Right now, Saquon is tied for the 9th highest paid running back in the league. All right, so stack his wealth compared to those who are ahead of him. Alvin Kamara, $15 million. Is he as good as Alvin Kamara?
Yes.
I think he's better.
Ezekiel Elliott, $15 million. Is he better than Zeke? Okay.
No.
Not even close.
Nope.
Dalvin Cook, 12.6.
Nope.
Derrick Henry, 12.5.
That one you can make an argument.
Yes, depending on what you're talking about. Like he's not a cat. He can't catch out the backfield, but as far as pounds per square ounce.
Okay. What about Nick Chubb, 12.2?
I take Saquon. I like Chubb.
Yeah. I love Chubb, but
now here's the next two that are tied for 7th place. Joe Mixon, 12, Aaron Jones, 12.
Nope.
So it's lightweight disrespectful. They offered him just 12 mil. Now I understand. I didn't know what where everybody else was as far as the whole payroll of running backs. Oh, that's definitely disrespectful. I wouldn't go to camp either.
Well, yeah.
Why would you do that?
Here's what I think the Giants did as an organization. You put the tag on him because you don't want him to leave, first of all. So you own his rights.
Yeah, it's smart. It's just good business.
Yeah, it's good business. So
because you can still negotiate with him while you have it on.
Yes, and basically if his agent is just looking at the same numbers we just looked at, that I just looked at, then his agent realized, wait a minute, let's pump the brakes here.
Yep.
They're gonna tag you. His agent probably told him they're gonna tag you. I've talked to them. They said they want to tag you. You're not going anywhere. Then we'll go from there and get this thing worked out.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is, D-Gun. They did, all right, we don't have to rush into this. Right now, we're just going to let this play out a little bit, just so we can have more time to negotiate. We wanted to put the tag on you just in case. Just in case, meaning we didn't want you to be a free agent. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they didn't tag him at that point. Well, they got a 5th-year option on him, though. If they didn't tag him, he virtually would be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? We could just stop all the contract negotiations. I'm out of here. So they had to put a tag on him to make him come back this year.
See,
he
right
can't
now,
go anywhere else.
Right now, Saquon is tied for 9th place with Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard, who also got franchise tag for 10.1.
And so did Jacobs. They both did.
Yeah, Jacobs, all of them got tagged for 10.1.
But don't you think this might start to be the trend with teams? Okay, so you franchise tag them, which isn't killing you. It's not a quarterback franchise tag, okay?
No.
But you franchise tag these guys. If they agree to it, run the hell out of them for a year. And if they start to wear down or get hurt, you move on. I mean, it might start to be a strategy here with teams.
Well, see, that's why these guys, especially running backs, basically buck the system when it comes to signing a franchise tag, because if you're a back that carries the ball over 200 times a season, you put yourself out there to be the next Tony Pollard, broken leg. Look how Zeke has been worn down carrying the ball 300 times a year.
Yeah.
You know, Josh Jacobs gets a heavy workload. Look, you know, he's still a young back, but eventually he's going to slow down. Right. So you got to get your money now, Jack, because basically after 5-6 year window, you're damaged goods.
That's the push and the pull. If you're coming up after your first contract is up, you want to get paid. And teams know that these guys go quick. So they're pushing back against it. There's a real issue with that position. There really is.
Absolutely. You know, the fact that Derrick Henry has been that franchise for how many years? And the fact that you're even dangling him as trade bait now, what does that tell you? How do you feel about running back?
There's no loyalty in sports, especially in the NFL.
Oh no! What have you done for me lately? Yeah. What have you done for me lately? And then you want to get mad at players that don't want to go out there and give their all and lay it on the line for their organization.
Exactly.
I mean, you see things like this. I mean, that's total and utterly disrespectful to say Saquon Barkley, who was the second pick in the draft.
Yeah.
To offer him $12 million. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
When you got guys making 16 and 15 million that don't do half the stuff that he does. Come on.
Exactly.
I mean, you got Joe Mixon would have made $500,000 more than Saquon Barkley. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
That's the sport. Like football is a sport. I'll go to the mat for the players in terms of getting paid. There's other sports where I think, guys, it's ridiculous what's going on, and we'll talk about it later. But football's the one, and it's such a difference.
See, Saquon had 295 carries and ran for 1,300 yards last year, and he had another 76 receptions. So that's well over 350 touches in a season for a running back. Okay. So if you're getting that kind of touches and you're banging bodies, and he's a big dude, no question about it. But still, if you look at his totals as a rookie, 261 carries. Next year, 217. He played 13 games, got hurt. Only played 2 games after that in 2020 when he got seriously hurt. Came back 162 touches, and then 295 this year. They increased his touches. Okay, so he's got 5 years in, 60 games over 5 seasons. And he missed 3 games in 19. He missed 14 games in 20, 3 games again in 21, and he missed 1 game in 22. So now he's at that stage where you're starting to see the wear and tear on the body. Mm-hmm. But he's still young enough to where he should, if his representation is worth anything, you've got to get your money now. This could be your last and only big contract you get outside of that rookie deal you got as a high drafted player. We have to get your money now, especially your guaranteed money.
Absolutely. Yeah. He'd be a fool not to, because just how they set the tone with this, man. They set the tone of saying, just basically it's almost being prejudiced. They're prejudiced to paying running backs because of how their body gets worn down, how they just use them and abuse them and then set them aside. That's tough, man. I can remember when I played in the years leading up to when I played in the NFL. The running back was the prized possession of every team. You had Emmitt Smith, you had Ricky Waters, you had guys like that, Tiki Barber. And then you go even before that, you had guys that really played and would have virtually 300 snaps a year. That's a lot, man. That's a lot on the body. That's a big toll on your body, man. So, I understand. But also understand the organization. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to get tied up like Henry is tying up.
Right. And you just paid Daniel Jones a lot.
Yep.
Which is probably an overpay, but you almost had to for the position that they were in. So you would have a lot of money tied up in Saquon and Daniel Jones. Now, granted, they're your offense. So you have to spend.
Well, that's it right there. Like Henry, I mean, say what you want to say about Henry. Henry is their offense. Without Henry, they can't do anything. Mm-hmm. The offense does not run. I mean, you don't even think about a quarterback when you think about the Titans. You think about Derrick Henry, and they run block more than they even pass. That's why I don't know why they got Dillard, because Dillard can't run block. So, but still, I mean, you're coming off the ball every single play, and Henry just coming downhill, pounded, man. It's going to take a toll. Man. But you got to pay him, man. You got to give him an opportunity to get paid. You got to pay him, bro.
Yeah, and look, we know certain organizations, the Eagles don't want to pay their running backs. We know that much. Miles Sanders walks, he goes to Carolina. You bring in Rashad Penny for nothing, and it's a bit of a gamble because of his injury history. And let's face it, Kenny Gainwell and Boston Scott aren't making anything either. And Sermon, if you want to throw him in there, so they're really a low number right now at running back. They just don't prioritize. That's why the whole Bijan thing is such a fascinating discussion. I mean, are you really going to draft a guy?
No,
likely at 10 and pay him $4 million a year. I just don't see it. I just don't think that they believe in that position that much that they're going to allot the resource of the pick and the money that pick would bring in. I just don't see it.
No. There might be a team desperate enough to take a Bijan higher than we anticipate.
Oh, I think so. I think somebody will.
It won't be the Eagles, that's for sure.
He'll get drafted in the top. I think top 15, top 10.
Top 10 or 15?
Top 10. He'll be a top 10 team.
Woo, really?
Yeah. I mean, just from everything that Bijan gives. Now we don't need him, but you're looking for a team with playoff aspirations in the first 10. Let me look at a mock draft. We'll see where guys are picking at. I mean, all right. For instance, a Chargers team, they're trying to get rid of Eckler. Why not bring in a player, that's virtually what you have in Eckler, but younger? You know what I'm saying? I mean, Eckler has a lot of tread on him, so they want to get rid of him now, have control over this guy for the next 5 years, and then they'll let him go also. That's what teams do now, draft them, control them, and then get them out of there. That's virtually what the NFL is all about. So, I mean, if you can have a guy's peak years from 1 to 5, why wouldn't you want to control that and then let them go? You know what I'm saying? Just let them go. Only way you can do that is the first round, and you have it for 5 years, first rounder. After that, man, they're not useful anymore.
I hate to say this because I don't like to demean anybody's skill set, because at every position you have a few that are elite and then you have a number that are good. And when it comes to the running back in today's game, every draft there's 10 to 15 good running backs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the value of the running back has decreased so much that a team that's really desperate goes after a Bijan, whereas other teams will say you can find the next Pacheco in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, Aaron Jones 6th round. We can find that next decent back in our system and make him a Pro Bowl or 1,000-yard runner. That's the value of the running back position now. You don't need the elite of the elite. I mean, you look at the running backs that were drafted in the first round. Derrick Henry, what does he's put up? What does Tennessee won with Derrick Henry in their backfield? What have the Giants won with Saquon in their backfield?
Right, and Carolina traded away McCaffrey. These guys almost all have buyer's remorse after they give big contracts to running backs.
Exactly.
Right. You're right.
Tennessee, I would say, isn't having buyer's remorse, but they just got to figure something out because they're not winning. But I think the other teams do.
The running back is the understudy to the wide receivers in today's game, basically. Everybody's looking for the elite wide receivers more so. Everybody wants to put the ball up in the air more so than put the ball on the ground. And we're still wowed by the fact that any team in the NFL today that can average 150, 160, 170 yards rushing a game, but it's predicated on being able to put the ball in the air in today's NFL game.
Yep.
So the running back takes a back seat.
I think the Eagles also look at it like we have such a great offensive line that we don't need to have Saquon Barkley back there to be able to rush at a pretty high level. You can get it done.
Miles Sanders is a good back. Would you consider Miles Sanders a great running back?
No, good. He's good.
No,
not great.
How many yards did he run for this year?
1,300, whatever it was.
Averaging less than 20 yards a carry. Think about that. Averaging less than 20 yards a carry, he ran for over 1,300 yards because they had
yards per carry. 20 yards per carry?
I'm sorry, 20 carries per game. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Less than 20 carries per game.
Yep.
Usually running backs to get those kind of numbers of backs to carry the ball 25, 27 times a game.
Right.
Exactly.
Right on.
Exactly.
See,
exactly. So
but
bang for the buck.
There you go. If you have that offensive line, if you have that solid offensive line like the Eagles do, like Cleveland does, teams like that, you don't need a feature back because anybody you put in that backfield is capable of getting 1,000 yards.
Absolutely.
Look at Green Bay doesn't have Green Bay has a decent offensive line, but their offensive line is so banged up. Yet Aaron Jones still runs for over 1,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
You got Aaron Jones and you got the big kid from
Dillon, AJ Dillon. Yeah,
you know, I mean, that's thunder and lightning. You know, that's what teams these days. You don't see a lot of mainstay backs. You know, you look at Cleveland has one back, the Titans have one back. Everybody usually goes with a couple of backs. You know, look what Detroit did, got their running game going. They went a two-back system. The Chargers go with one back, but it's hard for you to really win games when you just have one back, you know, one back that runs consistently. You know, you want that little variation of the styles that you can put in there. And that's what makes this offense of the Eagles so good, because you have a quarterback that can run that option, the read option, RPOs and stuff, because you have a back that's dynamic enough, you know what I'm saying, whichever one you put in there that brings three different ways to run the ball. You know, in the Super Bowl, they went to a lot. You know, they switched from, you know, putting in Miles Sanders. You know, they stopped him because he was just running, you know, north and south. They need to get on the edges. They need to go out and get on the edges. So, you know, they changed up and start running out on the edges with their read option. You know, that just comes from the skill level they have at the running back positions.
I hear you.
And think about how much the fullback position has become a dinosaur.
Yeah.
It was a true fullback. Then it emerged into an H-back. And an H-back sometimes is a tight end. It's not even a true fullback.
Nope.
It's sometimes and now, how many teams have a fullback anymore?
What? It's like 4 or 5 teams.
Maybe.
You know, it seems like you can see a change when Peyton Hillis started toting the rock. He went from being a fullback to a running back. You know, once guys like that, you know, it really took and it really phased out fullbacks. And in the midst of that, defenses got smaller also. You want smaller linebackers to have to cover more so than anything, because everybody wants to put the ball in the air.
Yes.
So everybody's always trying to counter somebody else's counter. Well, I think that right now teams are going to start going into running the ball more effectively, like the Eagles, like Cleveland, you know, teams that can, you know, because defenses are so small that, you know, it's hard for them to pick up, especially with an offensive line that the Eagles have. It's really going to be hard for teams to stop them because their linebackers and stuff are so small. The defensive linemen are so small. That's why Hargraves had a lot of problems on first and second down. A lot of problems on first and second down.
I think Andy Reid is a prime example of what the running back is. It's whoever's healthy. And it works so well. You look at how efficient their running game is because their passing game is so potent. Yeah. So many teams are back from the snap of the ball. So many teams are backpedaling because they think all of a sudden by the time you realize they're running the ball, the running back's 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. And it's too late then.
The run plays off the pass for sure.
Yeah, that's where they pass the ball and then they run the ball late.
Yeah, it used to be the other way.
Yeah, but look at, you know, that Grillo brings something up, you know, saying why Gainwell isn't a 3-down back. I think that they are going to look at him like a 3-down back.
I agree.
Rashard Penny can't play.
I agree.
And stay healthy. They're going to have to use him as a 3-down back. You know, it's just the nature, man, of what this Eagles team does. But see, they don't run enough in the first half. They're going to pass, get a lead, and then run the ball consistently after that. Yep. That's what they do.
I think if the Eagles use Gainwell the way they use Sanders, Gainwell will be 1,000-yard rusher this year.
Yeah.
He'll easily be 1,000-yard rusher. If
they use his body hold up? Huh? Can his body hold up?
He's bigger back. Yeah, I do too. He's a bigger back. He's a little bit bigger than Sanders was.
I like him. I don't think I like him as much as you guys do. I don't know that he can be a feature back. I think he's solid. I don't.
Not feature.
What turns from? What turns you from? Because they showed me like.
I just don't know that he can tote it as much. I think he's a better pass receiver. I don't think he's a bad runner, but I think he's more of a pass catcher.
Well, you look in the Super Bowl. They changed on how they changed their landmarks on how Jalen Hurts ran that read option.
Yeah.
When they faked the ball to him and he took it, he wasn't bouncing it inside. He took it straight to the outside because he had the speed to get it to the outside. But yet still his body's a little bigger. He's gained a little weight, you know, since getting in the league. And I can only imagine how he's working out now, trying to almost guarantee that he's going to get a little bigger, simply because he understands he's going to have more of a workload this year than he had last year. It wasn't until like the last quarter of the year that he really started getting more reps. Can he be an every down back? I suspect he can. We'd have to see. Proof is going to be in the pudding. You have to show me that he can, but I mean, he's a pretty good player, man. He's a pretty good player.
All right, 5'9", 200 is what he again. He can bulk up too.
Yeah, but he runs hard. That kid runs hard, man. He's not easy to bring down. That's good. It's both good and bad when you have runners like that. When they lower their shoulder and engage contact, you're always more susceptible to injuries. But this kid runs hard, and the thing is, he's shown he's been durable up to this point.
Yep. All right, let's come back. Let's keep the Eagles talk going. Devin White. Let's explore that a little bit more, guys. Word came down yesterday when we were in show that he wants out of Tampa. We'll go through his numbers, his contract situation, possible interest level. Is this something that Howie tends to pounce on? They do need linebackers. We'll get into the Eagles 2023 schedule as well. So a lot to do with the Eagles when we come back. We'll do some Phillies, we'll do some Sixers, we'll do some NFL. We're going to preview the inside linebackers in this year's draft that are coming out. We'll do all that and more when we come back. Don't go anywhere. That's Derek. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk Bravo Pizza of Havertown. Yes, we are thrilled that they have joined the show. They have joined the channel. And I've been going there since I was a kid, so I can speak from personal experience about how darn good their food is. They are family-owned since 1985. Alex and his crew, just phenomenal, man. They're there 7 days a week. All fresh food, nothing sitting under a heat lamp, okay? Bravo Pizza offers 20 different styles of pizza daily. They have slices. You hop in there, man, boom, boom, get a couple slices, and you're good to go. I like the upside down personally. But there's a lot of different directions you can take this because basically you name it, they'll make it when it comes to pizza. Not only do they make a ton of different styles, but if you have something that you want to request, they will do it for you. All right. And they don't just do pizza. They have fresh pasta, sandwiches, wraps, wings, salads, you name it. Bravo Pizza of Havertown is also committed to the community. They have fundraisers for charity, schools, little leagues, where the proceeds go to those organizations. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram at the Bravo Pizza of Havertown. Get the specials there, the promotions. They're at 1305 Westchester Pike in the Manoa Shopping Center in Havertown, Pennsylvania. That's 1305 Westchester Pike, Manoa Shopping Center, Havertown, 610-446-3810. 610-446-3810. Bravo Pizza of Havertown.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild wood days.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. B. Gunn, B. Brooks, R. Ellis on this Wednesday. All right, let's continue the Eagles discussion, guys, as we are 15 days away from the draft, 2 weeks from tomorrow. And Devin White was sort of the big NFL news yesterday. He wants out of Tampa. He's not happy with the contract situation. He's entering the fifth-year option of his rookie deal. He's not happy with the direction of the organization. There's a lot of different things he's not happy with. Now, this doesn't guarantee that he's going to be gone. We know that this kind of stuff happens from time to time. And then all of a sudden, both sides came to an agreement and he's, long-term deal. But anyway, he's been a really good player in his days since being drafted 5th overall in 2019. 4 seasons there. Last season, 124 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 8 tackles for losses, 5 passes defense, 2 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. This guy's an impact linebacker. He's making 11.7 this year, entering the last year of his deal. Clearly, he would want an extension. You could roll the dice and make a trade for him and just ride it out and do a 1-year thing. But do you want to give up that kind of resource where he may walk after a year? So what do you think they do here with this? Could this be something that they make a move on?
They're so bad right now that, what really could they do to keep him happy? He's unhappy because they have nothing left. The cupboard is bare. So he virtually feels as though they're wasting him as a player and his youth on a team that virtually has no way of getting back to being a dominant team anymore, a dominant defense. They don't have enough. So he's ready to get out of there because they have nothing. It has nothing to do with money. I'm sure they could pay him, but he doesn't. He wants to get out and be able to compete, and they have nothing competitive about Tampa Bay right now.
Unless you just blatantly overpay him if you're Tampa, just throw crazy money.
Right, and they're not doing that. Not the linebacker position. No.
The fact that the Eagles didn't even try to sign T.J. Edwards, who is perfect for this defense, tells you what they think of the linebacking situation with his organization, and that has been status quo with this team for a long time.
Right.
They'd rather go out and hire mercenaries at a bargain basement price than to pay one of their own. TJ Edwards, if you look at the numbers he got from Chicago, they were numbers that could have been manageable even with this team. And even though TJ may have wanted to go closer to home, he probably would have stayed here. If you get that close to a Super Bowl and you basically go to Chicago, which is not ready to be considered in the same breath, that tells you 2 things. Number one, what they even offered you was probably disrespectful. And number 2, they really didn't make much of a push to try to keep you. I mean, look at how TJ came on this last year compared to 2021. He was as stout as that defense was in general. He was the brain trust in that defense, in the middle of that defense.
Yep.
And they didn't even attempt to keep him. They let him go. So that tells you, I don't see them trading for – you think they're going to pay a linebacker $11-12 million?
No,
and
I don't.
give him an extension on top of that?
I think linebacker is slightly above running back on the food chain.
On the total bowl,
yeah.
Right.
Like it's not
Exactly
quite
right.
as low. It's
Right.
more of a priority, but it's not a gigantic priority to them.
No, they don't believe in paying guys like that. They haven't. Najee Davenport was the last time they really paid. Not Najee Davenport, but Najee.
I know you're talking about. Good dude.
Najee Good.
Najee Good.
Najee Good was the last person they played. No, they didn't even pay him. They
didn't pay him. Yeah.
No, they made.
And he came back on a bargain deal.
Yeah, I can't remember the last linebacker that I'm talking about really got paid. Like Tone sends us a note that Spotrac, which is excellent, has White's potential market value at $20 million a year.
They ain't paying him that. No.
I mean, there's no prayer that happens.
No.
They wouldn't pay half that.
No, heck no.
They're usually pretty good at when they throw those type of numbers out.
Yeah, they are.
They you know.
I think the numbers are right for what's projected. I'm saying the Eagles won't pay it.
The Eagles ain't pay
no,
that kind of money.
no,
Not for a linebacker.
I can't think of the last time they paid a linebacker.
They'll pay a secondary person. They'll pay edge rushers and they'll pay their D tackles, but they will not pay a linebacker that kind of money.
Well, like Dion says, Bradham is falls in line with what they generally will do. Like
his contract was horrible.
Huh?
Remember we talked about his contract was horrible. Like his
Yes.
contract, he was making next to nothing, and it's like this inflated number, and all the money was at the tail end. He never even got to that money.
Right. That's what they do, though. It's like it's either somebody who's a free agent who there isn't a huge market. Like, for example, Kaiser White. I think Kaiser got 5 last year, something like that, 5 or 7. They'll go after that kind of guy or make a minor trade where he's not. They're just not. They don't. They pay. We know the positions they pay. They pay quarterback. They pay end. They play receiver. They corner. Pay corner. That's it. Defensive tackle they'll pay to an extent for sure. But that's it. They don't pay linebacker. They don't pay running back generally. They don't pay safety, usually big time money.
Well, last person they played as far as big time safety was Malcolm and his running mate. Who was the other guy? Malcolm and
Rodney McLeod.
And McLeod, yeah.
But even that where they weren't like monster.
Right. They weren't like huge deals. They'll come to think about it, Eagles are pretty damn cheap.
Well,
they are, man. If you're handing in the trenches and you're not a quarterback, they don't usually pay you. I mean, it surprised me that they paid AJ right off the bat with a $100 million contract, and he's well worth it as so far. It kind of.
I mean, do you think they're cheap? I just think they only will spend at certain positions.
Right. Well,
I think they're principled. Whether again, you could argue it, but that's just kind
cornerstone positions. The cornerstone position they pay. Cornerstone position are tackles, offensive tackles, defensive linemen, corners, and quarterbacks. Those what you call cornerstone positions on teams. Everything else is like fill in. You fill in at safety, you fill in at linebacker, you fill in. I mean, and then there are exceptions like Kelsey. Usually you don't play centers like that, and you don't play guards like that. That's why I don't have a problem with letting guards go. But traditionally, start with Big Red, you're going to pay them big tackles. You're going to pay your bookends. You're going to pay your defensive line, whether it's interior or even edge rushers. You're going to pay those guys. They've always paid them. They've always paid cornerbacks, and they've always paid quarterbacks. Other than that, everything else is just fill in. Even the tight end position, I guess over the last 2 years, they did pay the tight ends that were here the last, couple of years, with Hurts and Goddard. Yeah. But usually they don't even do that.
And they didn't pay centers until Kelsey came along, obviously.
Exactly. So those cornerstone positions on the edges, man, that's where they pay, man. Like the farther you get into the interior, like at safety, linebacker, guard, and center, they don't usually pay. Defensive linemen, they're going to pay. Offensive tackles, they're going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
See, Nigel Bradham in 2018 signed a 5-year, $40 million deal.
Right. I was like, okay, yeah.
But then when even agents start coming out on Twitter talking about how bad of a deal it was, they cut him after 2019.
Right.
So 2 seasons into a 5-year deal, they cut him.
It was all backloaded.
So he didn't get half that money. He didn't even get good money guaranteed in that deal. So they're not going to pay Devin White. They're not going to come close to that.
I agree. So I think we're all in agreement. That's highly unlikely.
And what fellas, I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I know what it is to be lined up across from a guy like Brian Urlacher. You know what I'm saying? I've been in those type of situations when I'm looking right across the way at Ray Lewis. You have to account for that guy wherever he is, or Sam Mills, or somebody like that. It's tough being able to block that guy and worry about the defensive line. Those really Hardy Nickerson, all these guys balled at the linebacker position. They don't really have any special players like that. You could say Micah Parsons, but Micah plays everywhere on the line. linebacker, and he's more of a rush type of guy. I don't see him as a coverage type of guy. I don't see him as a run defender either. I think that he's just a rush linebacker-esque that rushes from 100 different ways. He's not the traditional linebacker that can go up in coverage, cover, blitz. He can blitz, but it's usually around the line of scrimmage where he makes everything happen.
Yeah, I hear you. So a couple other things to hit here, and is kind of looking ahead here at the schedule. So they get with the uneven number now, where we sit at least right now. I think we're going to 18 soon, guys, but we're still at 17. 9 road games, 7 home games. Now they will play the AFC East and the NFC West. They'll play a first place schedule as well. Their home games are Dallas, Washington, New York, the usual suspects. They will play Arizona at home. They'll play Buffalo at home, Miami, Minnesota, and San Francisco. So
at home.
That's all home.
Yes.
Let's start with the home schedule. Now, I think we all agree the division's going to be really challenging like it was last year. Dallas has had their number, for sure. Washington, we'll see about the quarterback situation. New York, we'll see what the second year looks like. I like Dable and their GM are good, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see with New York. Arizona's going to be bad for sure. Buffalo's good. It's kind of a prove it year for them, but they're still good. Miami, if Tua's healthy, it has a lot of talent. That is a talented roster.
Yes, they are.
Minnesota's talented for whatever we say about them, and I think they have a good coordinator in place. And then there's San Fran, who's going to want a little revenge. So this is a pretty good home schedule. There isn't, other than Arizona, there's no cupcakes there.
No.
Got a little rivalry going on now with the 49ers. It's a little rivalry.
All the nonsense they talk.
Yeah,
all the whining and crying.
Yeah, it's a little rivalry there. Man, and going into Arrowhead, I like that. I like going into Arrowhead, hostile situation. This is where hey, we're gonna see if this head coach really got it, man. Does he really have it? This is. I can't wait for that game, man. I'm looking forward to that game.
There's no shame in losing at Arrowhead. Many good teams go into Arrowhead and lose those. And I'm not saying the Eagles are going to lose that game, but that's one of the toughest venues in all of pro football to try to win a game at. And I'm tossed. I'm at a toss up at that particular game. I'm curious if the Jets do get Aaron Rodgers. I'm curious to see what this Jets team is going to look like by the time the Eagles face them. That's going to be an interesting game because the Jets have talent on both sides of the football. They're good on defense.
Exactly.
Good on offense.
Yeah, bro.
And you got Aaron Rodgers now loaded with weapons. Like even in Aaron Rodgers' best days, he's never had the collection of pass catchers that he's going to have in New York.
Nope.
Nope. Are you kidding me? Aaron Rodgers in 23 is going to be like a kid in a candy store with all these tight end, running back, wide receivers. Are you kidding me? He's got everything he's dreamed about having in Green Bay.
And he's also got a lot to prove in this sense. We all know he's a future Hall of Famer, but he's got a lot to prove because even by his standards, there's just been a lot of nonsense this past offseason, right? So I think people go in like really sick of Aaron Rodgers and rooting against Aaron Rodgers. And I think a guy like that can feed off of it and use it as fuel.
That's a good point. He has to prove that he's not that bad guy that he's portrayed to be. And let's face it, he's brought a lot of this on himself with some of his antics over the last 3 years. So he's got to go out and prove that he's the consummate leader, consummate teammate, and that it's not about me, it's about we, in terms of wanting to win. I mean, he's won everything you want. He's got a Super Bowl. He's won his MVPs. He was considered the best of the best in his heyday, but one of the strongest, most accurate arms ever to play the game. And now he's put himself on this island by himself. Everything he's done over the last 3 years has been considered about him. And when he goes on these talk shows and saying, that's not true, that's not true. Well, the only way you're going to prove people wrong is by your play. So now you're being put in a situation where you have every toy you could want. You've got a decent offensive line. You've got a good running. You got good running backs behind you. You have a plethora of pass catchers. You can just throw the ball up, and some of these guys should be, Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard. These guys should just be able, be able to go up and get whatever you throw. So
Corey
there's no
Davis
more
is a
excuses now.
big target too, man.
Yes.
Corey
And they
Davis.
forget about him.
Yeah,
They forget about him.
He has a good running attack too. Brees Hall was awesome
Yes.
last year until he got hurt.
Bro, this is he lives for this. He lives for these type of opportunities. He doesn't care about anything we talk about, has not cared about anything we've been talking about. He lives with these circumstances where he can come in and say, look, I told you, and he has a head coach that's taking receipts.
Yeah, there's a lot of receipts there between he and his head coach. It's going to look like you went to CVS with the receipts that are coming out of that thing. So I think the road schedule's a lot other than Kansas City. I think it's less challenging, depending on the Jets situation. You get the Rams, which should be, I know it's not easy going to the West Coast. You get Tampa Bay.
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's okay. That's a tough place to go. But, so look, there aren't a lot of layups here. It's definitely way harder than last year. Now, that's on paper. We know teams have injuries. We know teams, some go down, some go up that we don't expect, right? But it pretty tough schedule. If anybody's expecting 14-3, I think you're nuts.
I agree 100%. I agree.
You see 3 losses on this schedule?
I mean, I see. I'm not looking at low. I'm looking at 12 wins.
Well, that's 12-5, man.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I see at least 12, maybe even 13 wins. Like, I don't think that, everybody's talking about Dallas. I mean, we split with Dallas last year. And all things being equal and healthy and we're on the same field, we're a better team than even Dallas. When I look at them on paper, we're a better team than Dallas. On paper. We're a better team than San Fran on paper. We're actually a better team than Buffalo also on paper. You know what I'm saying? To me, and then when I look at Kansas City, weapon for weapon, we have more weapons. It's just they have the ultimate weapon.
They have the ultimate weapon, yes.
Yeah, they have the ultimate weapons, but I mean, like I said, all things being equal, when you look at this team, even right now, without the draft, they could still go out there and ball out and play at a very high level.
Yes. Yeah.
Defensively and offensively. We know offensively they're going to be all that. But even defensively, they have guys in place right now that can compete at a high level. I'll take our defensive line against any offensive line in the league right now. The way it's constructed right now, man for man, I like our chances. Even with getting rid of Hargrave, we don't have Hargrave anymore. I think the biggest thing that we lost on that defense that we haven't been able to get, an equal or a couple players that can virtually get to equal is Hargrave. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's talking about CJGJ. All right, we lost him. He's not there anymore. But when I look at him and I look at what we have here now, bro, I mean, I like our chances with them. You know what I'm saying? I like our chances with what we've went out there and in free agent market and got. I'm telling you right now, we will get better safety play than we had last year with CJGJ. And say what you want to say. We can go play for play. When I look at CJGJ halfway through the season, booty quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? These quarterbacks weren't that good. But I look at the guy we have back there now. Terrell Edmonds is a much better safety than he is. He knows his run fits. He knows we're supposed to be on pass plays. It took CJGJ a lot of time to get into those run fits. A lot of those run plays early in the season were because of him. They broke loose because he didn't know where he fitted within the scheme work of being a safety in the defense. So, I mean,
I just think
the defense.
I hear you. I think there's a lot of talent. I agree. I also just think we know how hard it is when you're the team that's trying to come back from getting to the Super Bowl. It just seems like stuff happens. Look what's happening with the Phillies. Like stuff that's out of your control in terms of injuries, and then there's just other stuff where you press.
That's always, man. That's always. I mean, it's now you're the hunted. You know what I'm saying? We shocked a couple people the first 4 games. Then we settled in, and everybody knew, all right, this is the team to beat, and they still couldn't beat us. you got to have that mindset and that attitude. And the reason why I talk the way I'm talking right now is because I've been in that mind state before. The year before we went to the Super Bowl, we were 15-1 during the season, 15-1,
right,
and then lost to the Patriots in the championship game. Came back that next year and won it all. So it's not, to me, it's a mindset. We knew when we stepped on the field that we were a better team than anybody we were playing against. So, that's the mindset we had. So we beat people just by just showing up. Now the Eagles, they got to show up. But you got to have that mindset that, all right, I don't care who we're playing against. We are the superior team. And I think they have that type of sense about them because of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts will really get those guys going in the right direction. His preaching, his understanding on what his role is on this team can get those guys going in the right direction.
Well, Derek, what do you think in terms of win total? Where are you at with this?
I'm torn somewhere between 10 and 12 right now.
Yeah, I'm a 12. I'm 11, 12.
And the reason being is, I agree with everything Barrett said. When you look at man for man on paper, Eagles are better than Dallas. But Dak Prescott has had their number forever. So that's
absolutely
a split. The Jets are a much better team. Going into what was Seattle's biggest weakness? Defense. They were one of the worst. What did they do this offseason? Spend money on defense to go with that offense.
Oh, and by the way, they're going to get their first pick.
Yeah,
Mr. Carter, Jalen Carter. He'll be their first pick.
So you have to go into the two toughest road venue. There are three tough road venues. 49ers come here though, but the two toughest road venues on that schedule are Kansas City and Seattle. And I've been to those stadiums many times, man. It's like your ears are ringing a day after you leave that place. And I'm sitting in a press box. I'm not even in the lower bowl where you hear most of that sound. Seattle offensively was fine. Now the defense appears are going to catch up to the offense. They've done so. Those are games that can go either way. Jets game could go either way. Buffalo game could go either way. You just don't know. So I'm saying the two gimmies on their schedule. And I hate to say that because any given Sunday, anything can happen. The two gimmies on paper on the schedule right now are Tampa Bay and the Rams. Outside of that, the other opponent's Washington, who's their quarterback. We agree, Jacoby Brissett can manage an offense. And look at what he has at his disposal in terms of running backs and wide receivers, okay? The Giants, they have a quarterback who can manage.
Jacoby Brissett there.
Yeah, and the Giants have a quarterback who played much better under Brian Daboll than he did any time in his career.
Yep.
Okay, so there's so many games, and we can sit here and we do it all the time as everybody else does. They're better than this team. They can do that. Yeah, but when they line up, crazy things happen. We see this happen time and time again. So that's why I'm teetering between 10 and 12 wins right now. And of course, we don't even know what the draft holds. Look at how many draft picks the Jets got last year. They turned out to be primetime players for them.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are other teams that had, look at Dallas. Dallas spent all those draft picks on defense. They weren't a shutdown defense, but they were a faster, much better defense, especially their front. Their front was lethal in terms of attacking the quarterback. They blitzed all game long. That's kept them in a lot of games.
Yeah.
Ability to do that.
Yeah.
So, as when you don't win, what's the saying? When you don't win the Super Bowl, you allow other people to creep up on you and get closer to you. And that's what other teams are doing. So here we go with this watch again. I got to take it off.
What the heck?
I got to take your watch off.
That was like Barrett. Barrett had the watch that was like jammed in the couch or whatever. You remember that? And you're oh my God.
You kept talking.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take their watch in the backyard and have somebody throw them. I'm going to say pull and take a gun and
exactly.
shoot it in there.
Old yellow
alarm
on the
just
watch.
kept going out. As soon as 1 o'clock came, the alarm was started. I'm like, where is it at? I couldn't find it. Anyway, I finally found it.
Unbelievable. All right, so we will get back to the football talk at 2. So what we're looking at a couple different things. We'll dig a little bit further into the Saquon thing. DeAndre Hopkins is on the market. Where will he end up? What's a landing spot?
Buffalo.
Yeah, it could be. Which new coach will have the biggest impact this year? And dive into the inside linebacker prospects. And there's some studs, man. There are some really good players, but Will the Eagles take one? How high will they invest into that position? So we'll talk about it all when we get back. All right. In the meantime, I'll give you the lineup for today's game, and we'll talk about what's going on with Aaron Nola, with the Phillies base running, with the 4-7 start. We'll get into all that when we return. Don't go anywhere. That's Derek Barrett. I'm Rob. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's smash that like button. Let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because knowing who to trust with those finances of yours can be tricky, right? And we know how critical it is. You work way too hard to not invest well in your future and your present. But I can tell you from personal experience that Jim and Principal Financial Group are people to trust, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business and you're trying to get your employee benefits off the ground. That's another resource that Jim can assist you with. I know personally, I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollover, and other investments with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You can also email him, Murray, murray.jim@principal.com. That's murray.jim@principal.com.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
All right, we're back. Yes, we are hanging out with you on this Wednesday. Hope you're doing great out there. We appreciate you you spending some time with us. And here's the great thing. If you miss any portion of the program, you could always go to JAKIB Sports. It's JAKIB, as you know, JAKIBsports.com, JAKIB Sports YouTube channel, to just go back, whether it's yesterday, whether it's Monday, whether it's something you missed a little bit earlier today. You had a meeting, you had a phone call, you had a Zoom. Whatever. We are here, and you can always check out all of that out. All right, Phillies. They lose yesterday, 8-4 to the Marlins. They're looking to take the series today. Let me give you the lineup actually before we dig into them any further. So I'm happy to see that he's got Stott back up at the top of the order.
Yes.
So, which is where he should be. Stott leads off. You have Turner hitting second at shortstop. Schwarber's DHing in the 3-hole. Castellanos in right field bats cleanup. Real Muto hits fifth. He will catch. Brandon Marsh will play center field and bat sixth. Alec Boehm will bat seventh at third base. Jake Cave will play left field and bat eighth. Cody Clemens gets the nod at first base for the Phillies. He will bat ninth. Zach Wheeler on the hill for the Phillies. So that's the lineup for today. I'm getting to the point with Rob where I hope that he just keeps Stott up top. I think he's big on the tough lefty and all that. And they faced a tough lefty last night, but Stott still had a couple more, hits. So I hope he gets to keeping it that way.
Not just a couple more hits, but he had a couple of RBIs as well. I mean, it worked fine Monday. I don't know why he put him back in the 7-hole yesterday. If it worked, why don't you leave it there until it doesn't work anymore? Why do you keep bouncing him around? That lineup worked. He's more productive, and they could have used him on the front end of that lineup yesterday. I mean,
Right,
and when that game got to 4-3, I thought the Phillies had him right where they wanted him, to be honest.
Would you say,
the Marlins,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
don't fix it. Leave it alone. I mean, and the Marlins are not a heavy hitting team, but for some reason yesterday it didn't make a difference who they put on the mound. Of Marlins got key hits after key hit after key hit. I'm like shocked. This pitching staff against that Marlins offense should be one-sided 9 times out of 10. And I guess that was a 1 time out of 10. It wasn't.
And it really pissed me off that Gene had a great game against us too, man. It really pissed me off.
But he had a base running snafu also.
Yeah.
I'm
just
just
little Phillies in him.
I'm frustrated with Nola, guys. 5 2/3.
So explain to me what's going on there, because I mean, when I looked at him yesterday, he didn't look like sometimes he was doing everything. He just looked like a great pitcher, man. He was painting the inside, painting the outside of me, but then all of a sudden he just lost everything.
He comes apart. He comes apart at the seams. There's always an inning, and yesterday it was the 6th where he just blows into bits, and it's been the story of his career of late. He looks good, and he's mowing guys down for 3-4 innings, and then he just falls apart. I still think he's having problems getting used to runners on base with the pitch clock. But this was happening last year too to him. I don't know that he's not starting to kind of run out of gas a little bit. And once they see him second, third time around in the order, they tend to have much better at bats against them. I mean, he didn't get out of the 6th again yesterday. They've had one starter pitch 6 innings the whole year. That's it.
As I said yesterday in his first 2 outings, he's pitched like the Aaron Nola of old. I think his pitches go flat. I think it's I don't know if it's I don't want to say arm strength, but I think he loses something on his pitches the longer he goes. And I don't know if that's lack of innings thrown in spring training. I don't know what it is, but as I told you, I text you guys and I said before, I said this his first 2 outings, he looks like an all-star pitcher for 3 or 4 innings. He's mowing them down. He's hitting his corners, and then all of a sudden, everything's over the fat part of the plate, and they start teeing off on him, and when you face the better teams, if you can't get past a team like the Marlins, what's going to happen to you when you face that Mets lineup, Dodgers lineup, the Cardinals, the Brewers? What's going to happen when you face those lineups? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's given up 5, 3, and 4 earned runs in 3 consecutive starts now. And he's clamoring for a new deal. Worst thing he could have done was let it be known that he wants a new deal, and he's not happy with whatever they offered him. Because now about management, hey, we'll talk to you in October.
Yeah,
Let's see what you're in October.
Let's see what happens this year. That's
right. Well, I mean, all things being equal, man, it's not looking much better on the batting side of the ball either. 2 games. We've only shown 2 games that we can score a lot. Other than that, man, I mean, we've got to be scoring more than 3 or 4 runs a game, man. I mean, look at the lineup we have: Schwarber, Castellanos. I mean, is Nick ever going to come to being what we thought he was going to be? Alec Boehm's batting pretty well. I don't see it. JT Realmuto. I mean, where are our bats at? Where are we consistently being able to score?
Maybe it's World Series hangover. Maybe World Series hangover.
No, I'm not sorry. We're getting the bats. We're getting on base.
You're getting the hits. You're
We're
not
getting
producing
hits.
the runs.
But we're not. Yeah, where are the runs coming? We need runs to start showing up.
It's a big problem. They were
Yeah,
one
we
for
have
10.
the bats. We're getting on base.
You know why? They're running themselves out of innings also. Poor base running. They can't push runners across, like Rob said, 1 for 10. How many times have they been 2 for 9, 1 for 10 so far in 11 games with runners in scoring position?
A lot.
That's been a constant theme this year.
Mhm.
They can't finish what they start. They get men on base. They can't get them home with enough efficiency, except for the one game they had the explosion. They haven't been able to do it, and that's a big reason why.
Attention to detail is a problem. So I'll give you just to illustrate the problem here with the base running. So just to go back to last night, and as we mentioned earlier, they've had 8 runners thrown out on the base paths this year, which is the most by far. Like, there are a ton of teams that don't even have that many combined. That's how bad it is. Okay. So last night, the Phillies go into the bottom of the 6th. So they're trailing. They're trailing by 3 runs, and Stott gets a 2-run single. It was a clutch hit, cuts the lead. They're down 4-3. They would have had runners at first and third. Okay, but instead he takes this really. There's a throw to third. He takes this wide or home. I mean, there's this wide. He takes a wide turn and gets nailed by a mile. He's out by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
It's just dumb. It's dumb, and it kills a rally. And that's and the problem is, like, everything just kind of caved in after that, and then they gave up a bunch of runs after that, and the game was over. But you were right in that game down a run where you could have easily chipped away. They would have had Luzardo out of the game, who they didn't have any answers for. They didn't. He scattered 8 hits, but he only gave up 3 runs. He would have been out, and you could have started chipping away. And it didn't happen because of stupidity. And Stott owned it last night. And I'm tired. I don't even care if these guys are owning it anymore. Like, actions are louder than words. I mean, really. Like, I could sit here and say, guys, I sucked today. That segment sucked. I was disinterested. It sucked. I could do it every day. And finally, you're like, all right, you're saying it, dude, but you keep sucking every segment. So who cares?
Do something about it. You know what I mean? I don't need to know, that you suck. Sometimes, it's just, and I really think that, just what D-Gun was saying earlier on, I think they're just trying to force the issue. I've seen it happen before. You're trying to do too much instead of doing do your job. Just what I'm saying. I'm a big guy on just doing your job. Do what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? If you steal bases, go steal bases, Trey Turner. Stock, you just, get on base. Just get on base. Real Muto, I want you to go bang out a home run. Schwarber, go bang out a home run. Just do that. Just do your job. Don't try to. Schwarber, bro, you about my size. You ain't supposed to be trying to run bases like that, bro. Yeah. Just get on there.
You probably know who you are. We say, KYP, know your personnel?
Yes.
Okay, that's know thyself. That's KTY. Know thyself. Okay? Like, I'm not showing up in a meeting shirtless like Barrett because I can't pull it off.
And neither can he.
Right? But he can pull it off a lot better than I can.
I thought I did damn good.
You heard my wife said she would shut the internet off if I ever did something like that.
Well, hey, man. Hey, some guys got it, some guys don't.
Exactly. Bro. I don't. So I would not show up shirtless. Okay. I know thy strength. I know thyself. So you got to know yourself. You also have to be smarter. Like your situation, if you're Bryce, I know he's only in his second year, but you're in a situation where you just cut it to 1, man. You did a great job. You got a hit. You drove in a couple of runs. You got a guy on third with 2 outs. It's been hard to come by runs in the game. Right. Anchor down at first base, man.
Just get there. Just get there. I mean, realistically, come on now. You're trying to run bases. Don't try to overdo it. You know what I'm saying? I've seen guys try to overdo it or do something they ain't supposed to be doing, and bam, look what happens, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a guy, like, for instance, I'm playing, and, my guard, I'm playing tackle, my guard. He's not that guy. He's not good enough to get out there on screen plays and try to hit a linebacker and drop him into the ground. Just latch on to him and just ride with him. This guy gonna go out there and try to lay into the linebacker. Linebacker swam and boom, hit the running back, fumble and everything else. I'm like, come on, man, know your job. Just get on the guy, stick on the guy. That's what you do best. You're one of the best holding guards in the league. All you do is grab onto him, hold him, and keep him from making the play. Instead, you want to go out and try to grab and muscle and throw him down and all that. He swam. It was over after that. Just know know what your job is. Do what you need to do. You know what I mean? Do what you need to do.
You're right. But I will say this. There's a bigger issue at play here. There really is. Like, if Nola doesn't get his act together, they may not make the playoffs. If you're sitting here and this turns into, you're killing your bullpen, a guy who's your opening day pitcher, who we all know is the number 2 behind Wheeler, but still continues to pitch like this, it's all going to start caving in. Like, you've gotten a great job out of Strom so far. You've gotten a great job out of Falter. But you're asking way too much of those dudes.
Right.
And you can't use the excuse when we really miss, Bryce, and we really miss Reese. You have more than enough left in your arsenal to do a lot of damage, more so than a lot of teams in the majors. Yes, those are 2 key components to your success, but you got through it without Bryce for how many months last year? 3 months? You got to the World Series. You got to the playoffs without him. And that was without Trey Turner in the lineup. Now you bring one of the elite. There's no excuse for you not being able to rack up at least 5, 6, 7 runs a game, every game. You should accidentally be able to get 6 runs a game with this lineup.
Yeah. You should.
No question about it.
No question about that.
Wheeler goes today. Well, right. And you're right. Your bats need to show up, and Wheeler needs to show up. So
what do you say? So what are you going to say if Wheeler gets bombed today? What if Wheeler struggles today? What are you going to say then?
And they need to
You're
go
1
out
and
the
2
mound
pitchers.
He need to be going to the mound and just be shirtless. Maybe that'll help him out.
What is it with you and shirtless today? What is it with you? What is it with you? Is this when you hit the 50 crisis, the 50-year-old crisis? Is that what this is?
The midlife. I don't know,
bro. I'm just saying, man. It's just frustrating because I see the potential. I see a whole lot of people on Blaze who don't know how to run bases. You know what I'm saying? We talked about small ball in the beginning of the season. Why? Well, it's still the beginning of the season. Let's not, there's 162 of these jokers, bro. So, let's make sure we, say that also. But it's little things that are not happening. That's the reason why they're losing. The big reason is, all right, our starting pitching sucks. But sometimes you got to give them a little grace. Got to give them a little leeway and score. You know what I'm saying? By getting on base, playing small ball, get your RBI totals up. That's what these guys should be thinking. JT, Nick, just get your RBI totals up. The home runs will come. Just get your RBI totals up, man. That's what you need. That's what they need to be thinking right now. Let's go out there, get RBIs. Let's score runs. That's the only way we're going to win right now.
Yep. All right. On the good news front, there's a couple things. One,
there's good news.
There is.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I got my shirt on. That's good news.
Wait a minute. Wait. Look, before we know it, Barrett will be on OnlyFans with his shirt off. Barrett, Jason Bennett, Barrett chest. Barrett wants to bring the guns out. There ain't no guns. Those are duds. It's the milk duds.
What are you talking about, man? I'm physically fit. You know what I'm saying?
He's lost weight.
Yeah,
All right, Rob. You can't look at Rob. Can't even say with a straight face. Look at see.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, you have lost weight, but you ain't got no business being shirtless.
He's a lean, mean fighting machine. That's what he is. Twisted steel and sex appeal.
How dare you, Derek?
Yes. Not right. You're supposed to lift up your teammates.
I still cannot get that image out of my mind, man. What he did. I can't get past it.
Yeah, that one will not be unseen for a long time. That's going to take therapy.
I'm just so glad my grandson, Little Cruz, didn't see it. He likes to join us in some of the pre-show meetings. Poor Little Cruz would have been waking up and having nightmares last night. He coming to get me. Who? That big guy who was shirtless.
Oh man, we're supposed to be doing a show right now, and all you guys can talk about is me.
You brought it up, not us.
I didn't bring it up.
God,
Christy said it. Christy's my friend.
Yeah, Christy.
Look.
All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a public opinion. The next time you slip up and let that happen, I'm going to quickly grab a screenshot on our show meeting and put it on the show and ask people, what do you think it is? Should this be allowed in public?
Yes.
Or we make some kind of bet and the payoff is Barrett goes shirtless.
Oh, heck no. On the show? No. We ain't doing it. No.
We'd do it.
If we do that, I'm telling you right now, if you do that, if you do that, huh?
Stop hating, Derek.
I'm not hating. I'm trying to protect the innocent. If you do that, I'm telling you right now, Rob, it'll be you and Barrett on the show by yourself. I'll be face down, crying, laughing.
That'll be it.
That'll be it. I'm done.
All right. All right. Let me give you good news. There is good news. I swear.
That was great news.
So this is good, not great. Not as great as you. They are. So Harper's really progressing quickly here. It took live BP again yesterday and is apparently just smoking balls all over the place here. And he's fielding grounders at first base. They're doing modified sliding, drills. So they go out to LA May 1st through the 3rd. He's going to go visit the doctor who did the surgery out there. That's probably a good sign that if that doctor signs off, he's getting real close.
Well, I'll go back to what Rob Thompson just said recently. The biggest concern is him not hitting, but sliding in the bases. He said you can't hand him an arm brace while he's rounding the bases. So that tells me they're worried about him possibly jamming that thing and doing damage to it even further. Because when you slide, obviously you put your hand down to guide you. And if that's the case, I don't care what he's hitting. Do you want to see him back on the shelf again?
I
jams in arm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you
much as I want to, yeah, man.
You gotta be smart.
Much as I want him back in the lineup, dude, I don't want that to be an issue.
Yeah, I agree with you. But the fact that we're even here and having the discussion is probably good.
Yes,
probably good.
It is. Yes, and they need some good news right now. There's no question about that.
The other good sign is Suarez threw another bullpen with no issues, and he used all of his pitches. And I heard Rob Thompson earlier on WIP say that, they'll have a better handle on where he's at when he comes in today, because it's usually the next day if you feel it. But if all goes as scheduled, he may be doing a minor league start very soon. So getting him back, I mean, really, what the interesting thing about the Phillies so far this season is? Not that Trey Turner's definitely been as advertised, but it's been the either younger or bottom of the order guys. What I mean by that is Strom, Falter, as far as the rotation goes, and then in the batting lineup, Stott, Marsh, Bohm, all those guys are really pulling their weight. Like if you could get some of the other guys, your big boys, to deliver, this team would be in very good shape.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So
I agree.
We're hitting. We're just mucking it up on the bases.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
A lot of mucked up stuff happening. Very mucked up. All right.
If they don't make the playoffs, would this be one of the biggest collapses in Phillies history?
No.
Yeah, it would be highly disappointing. Highly.
And I know we got a whole lot of baseball. I expect this team fully to make the playoffs. But if they did not make the playoffs, it's got to be one of the biggest next season collapses in the history of this organization.
Yeah, especially with the payroll, with adding Trey Turner.
Yes.
No question. I agree with you. And the other thing is Cass is right. Castellanos has been good so far.
Get off my boy Castellanos. Get off of him.
I will admit he has. He's hit the ball very well. I'll give him props.
I know he was that big, man. He's a big dude, bro.
He is.
I didn't know he was that big, man.
The whole lineup is big, man.
Yeah, they got some size.
They got some size in that lineup, man.
6'5". Yeah, these dudes are huge. Yeah. The days that there's not many of the 5'10" baseball players anymore. They're all
big. Trey Turner's little though.
Trey Turner is little, but he can fly and he can do a lot of different things. But yeah. I mean, Schwarber's a tank. He's not the tallest guy in the world, but he was a D1 linebacker coming out of high school. He chose baseball. They have some big dudes. They do. Did you catch any of this dollar dog insanity last night?
Yeah, what the heck's going on? People throwing dogs all over the place?
Yeah, so it was a sellout last night, and the dollar dog line was like around the whole concourse. But then I guess when the game started getting out of reach, they started just throwing them around, slinging dogs, so to speak.
Now, you know that's going to be talked about for a long time because it's Philadelphia.
Exactly.
I'm going back to this lineup here. Look at this. Alex Bohm, 6'5". Bryson Stott, 6'3". Trey Turner, 6'2", actually.
Yeah, he's not small.
Castellanos, 6'4". Brandon Marsh, 6'4". I mean, even this kid Pache, 6'2".
Yeah, these are big dudes.
These are big boys, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As we like to say down on the farm, big old biscuit eating dude.
Yeah,
Man.
the old biggins. Yep. All right, let's get time out. Come back, talk some hoops. Sixers playoffs. Three, count them. 3 days away. They will take on the Nets Saturday at 1:00. We'll get you caught up on everything else that's happening in the NBA as well. We'll do a little deep dive into the Nets too. We'll do that when we come back. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Pro Action Restoration. Pro Action Restoration is the place that you call or reach out to if your home, your business, a property you own goes through the inconvenience of water, fire, smoke, mold damage, any of the above, really, or it could be beyond that. If you're not sure, just reach out to them. Pro Action Restoration is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist you. I can tell you that from personal experience. I've gone through it. I didn't know who to turn to. I reached out to Pro Action, and it was the best move I could have made. They cleaned up my parents' house. They stopped the water issues they had in the basement. The crew was professional, clean. The price was reasonable. Pro Action Restoration is licensed, bonded, and fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So again, it could be water, could be fire, could be smoke damage, mold remediation. You name it. They can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
What do you think about Barrett? What do you think about it?
See what John Dickerson put?
No, I didn't see it.
Breast, this is the Barrett Brooks story.
No comment. No comment. All right, let's move on.
Hey, no breast distance.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. All right, let's move on. There they are.
Man.
Which way to the beach?
Oh, my goodness.
Sixers. They will play. We know who they're going to play. There's still some things up in the air in the NBA playoffs, but we know who they're going to play. We know it's going to be the Nets, and we know the guy that you need to contain. I don't know that you're going to stop them altogether. Is Mikal Bridges. Came over in the Kevin Durant trade, averaged 26 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 2.7 assists, but he's also a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So a lot of people think he is the best defender in the game. He presents a lot of problems. They're a new look team. Spencer Dinwiddie comes over from Dallas. He was in the Kyrie deal. Cameron Johnson. They're going to look a lot different from what the Sixers saw the first couple of times around. So what do we think about this matchup here? Because I do get a little weary when everybody just is skipping on to the second round. Like, once they get through the Nets. And I've been doing it too, because I think they will beat the Nets, but there is a danger in just completely overlooking a team.
Well, the good thing is the Nets are not a big team. No. They're not a big team physically. They're like a Miami team. A lot of 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" type guys. There's not a lot of 7-footers on this team, but they're a very active team. They get up and down the floor well. They're a streaky team. That's the best way to describe them. They go on these runs and then they go like stone cold. I think the Sixers' decisive advantage over them is the physicality they bring to this series. But you got to jump on this team. You can't let this team hang around and think they can beat you, because they still have Seth Curry. They got some shooters. They got some dudes that can shoot from beyond the arc. And you got to put them away. You got to put them out of their misery real quick. I don't want to see this become a six-game series when you consider what's on the horizon after this.
Yeah.
Got to get rest.
Yes.
Got to get some rest. Doc just said that right now they're the healthiest they've been in a playoff situation since he's been there. So, okay, let's go in, take care of business, get up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Keep resting. Give our young guys an opportunity to play a little bit. So,
well, yeah. Here's my concern, Barrett. Your head coach is telling us we're the healthiest we've been going into a playoff series. And your star guard just told us this Achilles thing is something that's going to be lingering for the rest of this season. I don't know who I'm believing. Let's see.
Well, it does, though. I mean, it's not like he said he's the healthiest he's been going into a playoff situation. Going into the playoffs. Right. You're never as healthy as when you start the season. But also, you learn to play with those inefficiencies that you have.
True.
You learn to play with those injuries. Man, I remember playing, my shoulder felt like it's gonna fall off, but it didn't feel like it's worse than it did when I first did it.
Right.
But it's not all the way healthy. I still feel it, but I can get through the pain. And I think that's what he's saying. They can get through the pain of playing. You know what I'm saying? They're very capable of being able to go out there and execute, even though they're hurting the way they're hurting. So,
I can't have a James Harden giving me 25 points one night and 11 points the next night. I can't. You can't win.
Even when he was fully healthy, he was going to get that.
That's what I'm saying. But look at what he's been doing down the stretch.
Right.
He has these phenomenal double-digit games, scoring, assist, and then all of a sudden he's 3 of 16 shooting. You can't have that.
I agree, Derek. He's as much as you're happy that he's a playmaker now, and he led the league in assists. He did a great job getting his teammates involved. He and Embiid have a pick and roll where you hit Embiid on the nail, and it's just cash. Is great. He's got to get you 22 to 25 every night in the playoffs.
Yes,
because there's too many other guys that you can't count on. You don't know what's going to happen with Harris. If PJ Tucker's going to hit a shot, all the guys off the bench. Yeah, Maxey, especially if they advance and play the Celtics. The Celtics have Maxey's number. So Harden's got to show up here for this team. And here's the way I read what Doc said. I'm encouraged by that. I do think that, despite what Harden says, they'll have like 10 days off from last time they played till that game Saturday. Even before that, they did a pretty good job of getting him a night here, a night there, and all that. Like, this is what it is. He's never going to be in better shape than he's in right now at his age with all the mileage on him. So you go in and Embiid, knock on wood, barring something happening in practice or whatever, is as healthy as I can remember him going into a playoff. He's in really good health. So from that standpoint, it's about as good as it can get team-wise.
Yeah.
Healthy-wise.
This team still worries me. There's something missing. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope they shock the world the way the Phillies did. I really do. But to me, it's something missing with this team in terms of me feeling good about them matching up against Boston. And even though they did match up well against Milwaukee, but when it comes down to the playoffs, you got Boston and Milwaukee go 9 and 10 deep. My biggest concern is that Doc is going to shorten his bench. It adds too much of these guys who are managing these injuries. The two key players, your two prime players are the ones that I'm concerned about most health-wise, which is Embiid and Harden. And then you have the other factor. You don't know which Tobias Harris is going to show up night in and night out.
That's the biggest right there.
Yeah. Niang, Maxey as good as he is. Maxey 5-point night one night. I mean, you got to be on point for the entire playoffs for this, man. These dudes got to take their game to a whole new level. I'm not sure they can. I'm really not.
Well, you know what? I'm not worried about number one. I'm not worried about Embiid. I'm actually not worried about Hart, even as far as their health situation. I'm not worried about them. They're gonna give it to me. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna go out there and give me what I need. They're gonna give you what you come to see. I just don't see anybody else helping them out, though. You know what I'm saying? And that's the truth.
That's it.
Your big two are gonna come. They're gonna be there. They're gonna play consistently. But who else is gonna show up for the party? And that's the problem. We don't get everybody showing up for the party, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, my biggest gripe right now is Tobias Harris, man. I mean, I'm not gonna gripe about PJ Tucker anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for him to do anything than what he's doing, and that's play defense. You know what I'm saying? Be a tough player. I've gone past it. I don't even look for him to hit the 2 jumpers from the outside, 2 threes from the corners. I ain't looking for that no more. But I got to have Tobias Harris playing like he's one, not even the big 3, but have him as being a big 4 contributor. Mm-hmm. We know that Maxey is now the guy that's one of the big 3. I cannot see Tobias Harris not being a better player than what he is, and that's making it anywhere without him.
Yeah, I agree with Coach Marcus here. Sloppy at the end of the games, no doubt. The Boston game is a great example. I think Maxey. I don't worry about Maxey personally, but here's what I worry about. I worry really about the Harris, number one.
Yes,
period.
number 1 Harris.
He's in his own category.
Yep.
Then I worry about the bench. DeAnthony Melton can look really good offensively, and then he can be a total non-factor offensively. I don't know what the heck, which DeAnthony Melton is showing up. Jalen McDaniels, I think, has been a nice addition, but I need to see it in the playoffs because playoff defense is way different than regular season defense.
Absolutely.
Shake Milton is not going to give him a fair shake, pun intended there completely. But how much opportunity, how much run is he going to get? Niang, we know how it works. If he hits his first 3, things are good. If not, and the amount of ifs that you throw out there with the Sixers compared to the ifs with Milwaukee and Boston aren't even close. There's way less ifs. Now, that said, if they end up playing Boston and Embiid just goes crazy, there's nobody that can touch Embiid. And that you can win. You can win in the NBA that way if you have a guy who's just singularly going nuts. Possible. But can he get to the finish line? Like, you're playing every other night, basically, at this point. It really pretty close to it as the playoffs go on. Can he stay? I don't want to say stay. He's in good enough shape. I don't mean, but how much is he going to be worn down as we move on here if you do advance?
I'm not worried about the worn down aspect. I'm being honest with you, Rob. He wants a championship, so you play beyond yourself when you're wanting a championship. The way I feel as though this year he wants the championship.
He wants it, but does he have the supporting cast to help him?
Well, see, that's what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? I think he has a Robin right now. You know, I really do think Harden's going to come in and he's going to contribute. He's going to be that guy that we think he's going to be. So I'm not worried about Harden. I'm not worried about Embiid. It's after that. It's just not even talking about the bench. And that's a shame that I have to talk about the 5 starters. You know what I'm saying? Well, when I can't rely on Harris being a guy to come in and at least score 18, why am I just saying, all right, just score 18?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Harris should come in and be, he should be unstoppable.
Yeah,
man.
he should be a 20-point per game guy,
Yes,
and getting you 8-9 rebounds with his size.
Exactly. I mean, why does everybody else have 4 deep that they can go in and put up 20 at any time?
Yeah.
And we got a guy, he may give us 5 points one game.
He's a mistake.
And he has the skill set to do it. He has the
Yeah.
skill set to be a over 20-point game type of player.
Yep.
He has that skill set.
But Barrett, we just know that he tends to disappear in big spots. He just does.
You can't do that, though. That's what I'm saying. You can't do that. That's one thing you can't do. You can't be a star and not show up. That's just not in your job description.
You're right, but the problem is he's paid like a star and he's not a star.
I believe he is. He just doesn't. Why is it so hard to get going? That's the problem I have. Why?
I wouldn't consider him a star. I really wouldn't.
I think he's a guy.
I think he's better than average, but he's not star level because he's too inconsistent.
You guys just don't want me to be happy about this whole situation. You don't want me to be happy. I'm trying to get past my demons. And you guys just won't let me exercise it, right?
I'm sorry, man. I
apologize, Mr. Brooks.
Yeah, let's all right. Let's do this. Let's jump off the Sixers for a moment. We have a little more clarity in the playoff picture in the NBA. So let's start with the Eastern Conference because I will tell you, I give Atlanta a lot of credit. They wanted it more, plain and simple. I mean, they were in Miami and they took it to them. The rebounding margin, and Gunnar threw it out there earlier, 63 rebounds for the Hawks, 39 for the Heat. That is 1-2. And Clint Capella himself ripped down 21, 8 of which were offensive. Like that is big time. That's big time, man. So
that is 1-2 right there.
Yeah. And that game was never really in jeopardy if you were Atlanta. The Hawks made the Heat made a little bit of a run, but really not much. Trae Young played very well. He had 25, 8, and 7 in the game. DeJounte Murray was good. He had 18 in the game. They got listen to this bench contribution, guys. Saddiq Bey from Villanova had 17. They got 10 from Johnson. Bogdanovich dropped 14. Okongwu gave them 12 as well. They got some serious bench production. And for the Heat, it was Jimmy Butler pretty good. Bam Adebayo was a real non-factor in the game. Hero was decent, but they got very little else out of their starting lineup. And then Kyle Lowry, who was in mothballs, came off the bench and dropped 33. But other than that, they got 4 points off their bench.
Yeah. Atlanta got 53 points from 4 guys off their bench. 53 points.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about with the Sixers. That when
well,
you ever see that.
If the Sixers got 53, they would blow through the play. They would take down Boston and Milwaukee easily. 53 points off the bench?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yep. Yeah, it's true.
Yet here we stand with our hands together praying. Niang, just give me 12. Just
Melton, please.
Melton, please. Can you give me 10? That's all I'm asking.
Harris, please give me 18. Not 20. Yeah. Just 18.
Can you give us 18, Tobias, please? Can you just, that's all we're asking. Is that too much to ask?
Right.
For the money you're making?
Well,
you know what their response is? Stop begging.
Shut up. Yeah,
begging. Stop begging.
Man, shut up, man. I do what I do.
All right, so they win. So the way this works with the play-in tournament, I know it's a little weird, but Atlanta advances. They're now playing the Celtics. So that's who Boston will get in the first round. The Sixers will get the Nets. We know that. The Heat will now move on to play whoever survives the game tonight, which is the 9-10 game in the East, which is Toronto and Chicago. So that's the That's the East game. We got any feel for that one, guys? That game is in Toronto tonight. Toronto was 41-41. The Bulls were 40-42 during the regular season. Toronto pretty good at home, 27-14. Bulls 18-23 on the road. Toronto's a 6-point favorite.
I like Toronto at home.
Yeah.
But then again, I like Miami at home. We see how that turned out. so who knows? I mean, they're so close. You know, the Bulls are a team that they're like, to me, they're like the Nets. You know, they look good one night, and then the next 3 nights they look like they've never played together.
Right.
You don't know which Bulls team is going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto has a nucleus of players that have been there together, but they struggle just to finish 500.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. If I was a bet man, I would not touch this game.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right.
Not at all.
Go to the other side here. The Lakers win an entertaining one in overtime last night over an undermanned T-Wolves team. This one was a fun one. It was the Lakers got 30 out of LeBron, 30 and 10 out of LeBron. Anthony Davis 24 and 15. Off the bench, Schroeder came up big for them. Had a 21 spot off of the bench for the T-Wolves. Karl Anthony Towns showed up. Mike Conley. I'll tell you what really hurt the T-Wolves in this game. Anthony Edwards stunk. He was 3 for 17 from the floor, 0 for 9 from 3. He killed them last night.
But here's another prime example, Rob, of stupidity costing you. Had Gobert not got suspended for that game, had the other player not punched the wall, I think Miami would have won this game. They would have been to overtime. Minnesota would have won that game.
Yep.
They'd have won that game.
Agreed.
Those 2 players cost them huge in terms of positioning.
Yeah.
Because the Lakers, I don't know, man. Lakers are not it.
I'm not buying it.
I don't buy the Lakers.
No.
I think they're going to be a first round casualty.
Yeah.
All I know is the first time AD starts tripping and LeBron got getting his ass.
AD almost cost them the game last night.
And LeBron did not throw him under the bus. LeBron was basically like, yeah, we talked about that and we'll move on. Like he was basically telling you, like, dude, don't ever do that again. Okay. And AD said it was my bad, but I mean, you could tell LeBron was like biting his tongue. Like, I can't believe he did that either. It was a really boneheaded. So give Conley credit. That's tough. He hit all 3 free throws to send it to overtime, basically. But
dude, that first free throw, how it just lipped its way over the edge of that rim.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Drama at its finest.
But it was a dumb play by AD. But I'm like, the only thing that saves the Lakers is you have LeBron and the experience and, you know, Anthony Davis and the experience versus some of these other, you know, like the T-Wolves who are, or not the T-Wolves, the Grizzlies who are a younger squad, you know, I mean, and that may factor in, although they had pretty good playoff experience, you know, the last couple of years. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But that game, they'll play Sunday. So the slate on, so tonight is the, as I mentioned, the Bulls and the Raptors, and then the Oklahoma City and New Orleans. They're the 2 games. And I want to get to Zion Williamson in a minute here, but Friday's game will be whoever, Saturday's games will be the Sixers in Brooklyn early. Atlanta and Boston is the second game. Then it's the Knicks and Cleveland, and then Golden State and Sacramento. We're still waiting for the matchups with the Heat and with the Timberwolves. Whoever wins these games will play them. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So mention that one of the games tonight is Oklahoma City at New Orleans, and Zion Williamson met with the press yesterday, with the media yesterday, and said, physically, I'm good to go. I just want to feel like Zion again. That's what he said. His words, not mine.
Wait. Say that again.
Physically, I'm fine. I just need to feel like Zion again to get on the court.
So he's not going to play.
Guys. I don't feel like I'm ready to be on the show right now. Okay, so I'm going to do it with this mark right here.
So you're telling me this?
That's some BS.
I mean,
that kind of money.
I said earlier, whatever the NFL players get, great. This kind of nonsense in other sports is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Sorry, Derek. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're telling me for the kind of money that he makes, that he's going to turn his back on his teammates in a playoff situation?
Da.
Are you serious? Because he
I don't know.
doesn't feel this dude. Okay, so he's only making 13 million, only 13 million, but he is the go-to player on this team, correct?
He's their best player when he's healthy.
You're going to turn your back on your teammates when they need. Can you imagine if Dr. J, Larry Bird, Allen Iverson said, "I don't feel like playing tonight"? What the teammates would have said. Charles Barkley, Isaiah Thomas. Can you imagine back in that day, a player said, "I just don't feel like. I feel physically fine. I just don't feel like being there."
Guys, I ain't got no more. I ain't got nothing left for the show, bro. I just ain't got.
Same
enough.
here, man. I just don't feel like being on the show right now. I'm tired of talking to you two. It's 80 degrees outside. I should be outside working in my yard. Physically, I'm fine, but mentally, I'm just not here with you guys.
You guys are right. Think about any other line of work. You're talking to your boss, okay? Which is essentially what he's doing when he's meeting with me. And you say, "Listen, look, I'm good. I don't have any medical issues. I'm fine. I need to be back feeling like Rob before I can start working again." and every one of our bosses would say, "Really? Well, go find Rob somewhere because you're no longer working here, but you can get away with this in sports." And you know, he's missed 64% of the games of his career.
He hasn't played since what's January?
Since he played the Sixers back then. That's the last time he played.
64% of the game. So physically he's fine, but he's had January, February, March. He's had 3.5 months off, but mentally he's not there yet after a 3.5 month vacation.
Yep.
In the middle of a season.
Yep.
And your team still found a way to get into the playoffs, and they need you to try to shock the world. But you refigure, I'm going to collect my check. Don't get me wrong. I'm getting my money.
Oh yeah.
But I just
I'm gonna want a huge contract real soon.
Yeah,
people. Yep.
What is with these players nowadays, man?
I don't get it.
I'm spent right now. That's they allow them to do it, man. They like it. I love it, bro. I mean,
I need to mentally recover, and the only way I can do that is if I go outside and grill some wings right now. I can't physically I'm here, but mentally I'm not with you guys right now.
You're not Derek right now.
I can't get back there unless I'm out there grilling something to get me back to where I need to be.
Yeah, this is a problem. And he further went on to say, like, I love the game. People don't understand. Everybody's coming down on me. Like, dude, if you're saying something like you're physically fine, can you imagine that happen here? If that was a Sixers player.
Oh my goodness.
Now I know we kind of lived it, Barrett. You brought this up in the meeting, so I want to make sure that we kind of lived it with Ben Simmons, right? To an extent. But the town was up in arms. He's lucky he's in New Orleans, man.
Right, exactly.
Hey, down there they put voodoo on you, man. You better be careful. They got people down there to believe that mess, man.
Some of that Jobu from Major League.
Hey, they put that Geechee on you.
Right.
I wonder, like, I don't think anybody will do it publicly, but if I'm one of his teammates, there's got to be a party that's like, dude, I'm out here busting my ass, man, and you're telling me you're good enough and you're not interested. I don't get that.
I can't. I don't want to play with a dude like that, man. To be honest, I don't want him on my team. I don't want to play with him like that. If that's how you are, who's to say you won't do it again at some point? Yeah. You want your money. Now the thing is, you basically have publicly admitted that you are physically fine, but you can't be there mentally. But yet you expect to get paid. How's that possible?
To me, he's so fun to watch when he plays.
He is.
And, he's such an impactful player. Like, he's got a lot of, like, Barkley, young Barkley in him.
Yeah.
Because of the way he's built.
But he just ain't got that drive that Barkley had to be great.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better. Nope.
What is with these athletes today, man? I don't get it, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand this. Like, for the life of me, this kind of stuff I can't imagine it flies. And what you've noticed too is regarding Ben Simmons, like all the people that used to have his back, you don't hear any of that anymore. Yeah, that's everybody kind of knows what it is at this point, and they've all sort of backed away from it. And I'm not saying Zion's there, but he's in the neighborhood. Like he's getting there. He's not far off.
No, they know.
Yeah.
They know. They everybody sees it. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody has to say anymore. He's not going to get another contract. I doubt seriously gets another contract. Come on, man.
Here's the thing though, Barrett. If New Orleans decides to get rid, somebody will pay him.
Yeah, they will.
Somebody will pay him.
Yep.
It'd be the stupid. Like the NBA has the absolute best union in the world, because you couldn't get away with this if your union wouldn't back you up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like football, the NFL, they don't have the same union. They don't have a stronger union. To allow something like this to happen, you don't play, you don't get paid, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
question.
crazy that this is happening.
Yeah.
How does this happen?
I don't know, man. It's hard to fathom this kind of stuff. All right, let's come back to some NFL. We will dig into a bunch of different topics, including which new coach will have the biggest impact in the league this year. And we'll dive into the inside linebacker prospects coming out in the draft. All that and a lot more. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. We're going to talk a little Flynn Tree Services right now. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim. They'll remove any unwanted trees off of your property, and they offer really unbelievable cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. They trim trees all over the area, including southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, northern Delaware. They specialize, does Flynn Tree Services, in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Keep in mind, we're having some great weather right now before the summer sets and we start getting the rain and the wind and all that craziness that comes along with it. It's a great time to get your trees evaluated. You can go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call, 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild wood days.
They're carving them up, and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Back, yes. Hour number 3 of the program, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett coming from Wells Fargo Center, Derek from the Gun Compound, and I am in the Ellis Studios as we speak. Good hanging out with you. So a couple things NFL-wise, guys. Let's dip into this one. No DeAndre Hopkins, as expected at the voluntary workouts for the Cardinals. He was working out in a gym in Houston while his teammates gathered at the Cardinals facility. When asked whether he expects Hopkins to join the Cardinals at any point, Jonathan Gannon said, "We'll see. I've been in communication with D-Hop, and I want to do what's best for him and us at the same time. When he's ready to come, I'll come and improve his game too." Okay. We know he wants out. So here's the way this works for his contract. He's scheduled to have a $30.75 million cap hit in 23, which would be the highest on the team. And there's trade speculation. Cardinals reportedly granted him permission to seek his own deal. A trade would save the Cardinals $8.15 in cap space and would leave they would leave Arizona with a $22.6 million dead money hit. However, either releasing Hopkins after June 1st or releasing him before that and designating him as a post-1 June release would save the Cardinals $19.45 in cap hits. All right, anyway, but without bogging people down with all this stuff, let me just say this. I think Jonathan Gannon is screwed, and I am a fan. Okay? You guys know.
Wait. You're a fan of Jonathan Gannon getting screwed?
No, I thought he did a good job here.
You what?
I thought he did a good job here. Yeah, I do.
Okay, let's move on. Okay.
All right. But he is stepping into a situation especially with Hopkins out of there, with bad talent on offense, a quarterback who I don't think is the answer and is not going to be healthy to start the year, and a defense that isn't anything special either. Like that has, and an owner who seems like a whack job. So good luck with that, Johnny.
Well, any and everywhere you can get a possible head coaching job. I'm sure he thought about all this before he took it, although he did take it relatively quickly. What's the MO of assistant coaches in the NFL? I want to get my shot to become a head coach someday.
Yep.
Because of money, as well as putting my own niche on something and hopefully it succeeds. The money you make as a head coach nowadays, even a low-end head coach is $5-6 million. I got to take that shot. It may not work. It may work. But, man, you talk about going into a hornet's nest of miseries. That franchise is not where you want to be. I don't know if I'd want that on my resume. When you consider – you're right. Everything you said is so true, Rob. You're devoid of talent. Your star receiver wants nothing to do with your future. Hey, Jonathan, nice knowing you. Just get me out of here, please. Mm-hmm. He wants nothing to do with the future of this team. Your quarterback is a malcontent.
Yeah,
that's a lot to ask.
And it seems like there's so much discord in that front office, like so many stories coming out that I don't like. It almost has a Washington kind of Dallas feel to it, minus the talent. Minus having pretty good players on the field. I think they might be the worst team in football this year.
Ooh, worse than the Colts? Ooh.
The Colts at least might get one of these young quarterbacks to make them interesting. What's interesting about the Cardinals?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz?
I mean, I love Zach, but no, he's not drawing me to a Cardinals game. And he's coming back from a knee injury himself. All right, let's think about this for a minute. Who's going to be worse? Texans, maybe. I think they're going to be improved.
I do too.
I don't think that they're going to be that much improved.
I think defensively they will.
Yeah, defensively, but
they were 31st. You can't get any worse than that, except 32nd. And where was Houston defensively? They were the 30th ranked defense last year. DeMeco Ryans will get that defense playing a lot better than it played last year.
Yes.
At least up to
15, 16.
Yeah, 15, 16. Yeah. I mean, the Cardinals have dug themselves in the trench. Everybody's either retired. There's two guys retired from that team. Anytime you have two guys retiring, and J.J. Watt and A.J. Green, that's a bad organization to draw you to retire that fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's in trouble. So we'll see. And this feels like one of those post June 1st things, and where DeAndre ends up, hard to say. But you mentioned it, Barrett, and Buffalo, maybe. Yeah, I mean, we team him up with Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. Oh my God, what that would look like. But he could be a difference maker for somebody.
Absolutely. But I can't believe his cap hit is that much, man.
I didn't realize that either.
That's sick.
That's sick. Yeah, that's tough.
Wow, that almost scared me.
Guy we talked about yesterday actually is visiting the Bucks. Hendon Hooker, which I think is a possibility. You know what's I saw Baldy was doing some of his breakdowns of guys. You know, he has Hooker as the third guy. He has Hooker ahead of Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. He has Hooker third.
What?
Better all-around quarterback. I mean, he throws a better, deeper ball. He reads defenses better than both of those guys. He is a pocket passer type of quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He's not really the athlete that runs around. He is a pocket passer. So what do I equate him to? Man, it's tough.
I'm trying to think of a comp for him. He's not like, I'm just thinking of the young guys. He's not Mac Jones. Like, he's not a statue.
No, he's not Matt Jones. No,
he can move.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett's got a little mobility to him that can buy you some time and give you a little. So maybe there's a little. He's bigger. Hooker's bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe something like that. I like Hooker. I don't know if I like him as a third guy, but I talked to him.
He has a beautiful deep ball too, man.
Yeah, I think the kid's a winner too. I think he's just a stud as a human being. So, we'll see what ends up happening there with him. All right, so I wanted to hit you guys with this. I was thinking about it today. I was reading some stuff on the Broncos, and it kind of spurred it. But looking at the new coaches in the league, and tell me if I'm missing anybody here. I got D'Amico Ryans in Texas. I got Shane Steichen in Indianapolis. I got Jonathan Gannon in Arizona. I have Frank Reich in Carolina, and I have Sean Payton in Denver. Am I missing? Missing anybody?
No.
I think that's it. So if you look at it and you had to rank biggest impact guy, and then we'll kind of we'll chip away and look who's after that. But who would you guys say it is? Who would you go with?
Who's going to make an impact?
Biggest impact as a new coach. Like, in other words, the team's going to grow leaps and bounds, or whatever. Who's the guy for you guys?
Oh, easily.
I'd have to go Denver.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, easily.
Yep.
Yeah. You got everything you need there. All you needed was a leader, and Nathaniel Hackett wasn't that leader.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Payton is that leader. Plus, he brings in a decent coordinator in Vance Joseph. And you got talent on top of talent on both sides of the ball. They had the number 7 ranked defense last year, and all that mess they had.
Yeah.
They only gave up like 21 points a game. The offense just couldn't score.
They were one for a long time, Derek.
Yes.
Like they were first, and their offense was dead last in terms of points per game. And they caved a little bit as
no question.
Yeah.
But you have, say what you want to say. Russell Wilson is still a mobile
like
quarterback. Huh? You like what?
Go ahead. I was going to say.
No, go ahead.
What I was going to say is he comes in and instantly he comes in and tells Russell Wilson, yo, bro, you don't have no damn office in here. Who do you think you are in here? You don't need nobody, no quarterback coach. I got this. So you don't listen to me. That's number one. Number two, he said, look, I'm not trading any of my receivers. I want everybody that I had. I want Jerry Judy. I want KJ Miller. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I want Cortland Sutherland. I want these guys. I need these guys in my system. So I like the way he came in and approached it, man. He first of all, he reined the reins back from Russell Wilson and got control of his team again. The inmates were running asylum all last year.
Well said. I think you needed a coach with that kind of gravitas who was going to come in. Like, Russell Wilson may not obviously didn't respect Nathaniel Hackett. Let's be real, or a guy like that. But you bring in a guy who's got a ring, and I think Russell Wilson's going to be a lot more amenable. Plus, the fact that all you need to say is, "Dude, we stunk last year, and you stunk." we're changing things up, whether you like it or not. I think Peyton has I think they're a playoff team.
Yep.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And I think they're going to give Kansas City a push for that divisional title. I don't know if they can overtake them, but I think we all thought Denver would give them that push last year, and it didn't work out. I think with Sean Payton at the helm, and Sean Payton's an old school, no nonsense coach. He ain't gonna put up with much. He's not one of these new wave coaches. I want to be the player's buddy and treat him with kid gloves. That's not Sean Payton's way. Mm-hmm. And these dudes are going to have to get on board. I mean, that team has to look at itself and say, look around this locker room. Look at the multitude of talent we have on both sides of the ball. And we embarrassed ourselves last year. We flat out embarrassed ourselves. Now, and not only that, but the coach got fired because of us in a lot of ways. Now, we got to go out and rectify this. We have a chance to do
right
some
there.
great things. Yep. We have a chance to go and do some great things with this nucleus of players. And let's face it, you got to say what you want to say about Russell. He wasn't Russell Wilson last year, but Russell Wilson, with his mobility and his arm strength, is still a really good quarterback.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you just need to get him on the right track, and you put him in a comfortable offense for him. I think he'll be fine. I don't think he all of a sudden lost it and just hit a wall where he can't play anymore. I don't think that's what happened last year. I think there's a lot of other stuff going on. He might not be as good as he was peak Seattle, but he's still very effective. For me, like I'm looking at it, I think number 2 is Frank Reich. If they get the right rookie quarterback,
I did put Frank at number 2.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot of potential there. They had a pretty good offseason in terms of what they went after. I think they have a front office that isn't afraid to spend. He put together a great staff, Deuce among them, but other guys. And I think they're poised to make a move, and they're in that division that's pretty wide open.
Well, they were 29th in offense last year. Defense had all kind of issues, even though they only gave up 22 points a game. Giving up 22 points a game is still manageable. And if you have enough offensive personnel, you could win more games than you lose. And in that division, that could put you in a prime playoff spot. The biggest enigma is who's quarterbacking that team. It's not a team like Washington that has at least a proven veteran in a Jacoby Brissett, at the helm. Carolina right now is devoid of that so-called leader under center. You have Matt Carroll, you have Andy Dalton, you have Jacob Eason. Well, Andy Dalton, we saw what he was down in New Orleans last year. He was up and down all over the place. I thought Matt Carroll would have a chance to do some great things. He got hurt.
Yep.
So I'm still not counting him out yet as an immediate solution. But right now, it's a huge question mark at that quarterback position for them. They have running backs. I love Chuba Hubbard. Now you got Miles Sanders to go with him. I like the receiving core. I like the defensive personnel. I think Frank Reich is in a good position. But even if they take that so-called future franchise quarterback, he's not getting on the field unless he just blows people away. I don't see him getting on the field right away. You're going to have to rely on either Matt Carroll or Andy Dalton to get you through, to navigate the rough waters until you feel comfortable turning the reins over to this kid, whoever it is.
No, agreed.
They're going to have to win defensively a little bit, and they have the personnel. They just had a lot of injuries last year. I mean, Jason Horn was out last year. Right. Really good corner. They got in the first round. Von Bell from Cincinnati. They got Xavier Woods, a safety. I mean, they got some guys that could play. I still like Gross Motas from Penn State.
Yeah.
He can mix it up a little bit. Brian Burns, he can rush the passer also. They have a little bit of what you want. Shaq Thompson, he's a little old now, but, he can still go. But offensively, man, they're just going to have to turn the corner. And I think they will turn the corner. I mean, look at what they have at the running back position, like you said. They'll be able to run the ball. But in that offensive line, they're going to have to protect. Mm-hmm. And when you have a new quarterback coming in, a young quarterback coming in, you don't want him to be gun shy. You want to protect them. The best way you can protect them is by running the ball. Mm-hmm. But, you look at all the guys that they signed are guys of importance, guys that can help you out. Andy Dalton, Miles Sanders, Hayden Hurst, tight end, Adam Thielen, DJ Shark. Chark. All these guys can help them push the ball down the field a little bit. So they'll have the weapons, and we know how good a coach Frank Reich is. So, You know, this would be a good situation for them, and they're in a piss poor conference, man.
Yeah.
I mean, division.
Yeah.
I mean, their division sucks, so he'll have success just by the nature of him being, you know, the best coach probably in that division.
Yeah, I'm with you. Third, I would go D'Amico. I think, you know, we kind of touched on Texas a little bit, so we don't need to do a ton on them. But, you know, again, this is going to come down to quarterback, the guy that they draft. But they have a good running back, the kid Pierce. They have some other pieces in place there. I think he'll get them turned around sooner rather than later. I'm not telling you they're going to be good this year, but I'm telling you they're going to be a lot better than the Texans, because they play a lot of close games. They might have a little bit of Detroit in them. But we're going to find out, you know, what happens. But I think D'Amico's the right guy. They made the right move at coach after whatever they were trying to do the last couple of years, whatever that was. So
you look at what they've done. They traded to get offensive guard Shaq Mason. They signed Sheldon Rankins. They brought in Jimmy Ward. They brought in Devin Singletary. They brought in linebacker Denzel Perryman. They brought in tight end Dalton Schultz.
Good player, by the way.
So they've got some pieces. It does revolve around the quarterback situation for them, but you got a guy who's a great defensive-minded coach. So think about before D'Amico Ryans, as you said, they played a lot of close games, and their defense. Where did I have them? Their defense was ranked 30th, and they played a lot of close games, giving up 25 points a game. They were last in run defense, giving up 170 yards a game. That stops now with D'Amico Ryans there. That stops. So he's brought in defensive personnel to get these guys. He brought in one of his players, Jimmy Ward, to help them understand the back end of the defense, how he wants it played. Jimmy Ward will help a lot of those guys understand what is expected of them in their roles on their defense. I think D'Amico's in a good position, not just because of the youth of this team, but because this is a franchise that has been left with egg on its face. You hired 2 black head coaches in consecutive years, so they have that hovering over them. You had the Deshaun Watson fiasco hovering over you. So now all they want to do is focus on football and getting better. So he will have leeway to mold his team into his image. Now, who's the quarterback? Who's the quarterback of this team?
I don't know.
That's the thing.
Right. I was about to say, you said all that there, but you didn't say anything about the quarterback position, and that's where they like most. Davis Mills, underwhelming.
I'm starting, whether it's Stroud or Bryce Young, I'm starting whoever it is right out of the chute.
Right.
Case Keenum?
No. No. I get the kid in there. Baptism by fire.
The kid's going in there, and you got Case Keenum there to teach him a little something.
Okay, that's fine. He's fine as a backup, but I mean, I'm playing the kid, and the kid's playing. I mean, let's dig into that since we're here. Do you think Reich takes Bryce Young? I mean, that's what Chris Mortensen's dug in on that, but everybody else seems to think C.J. Stroud.
I don't know, man. Every time I look up, the two alleged top quarterbacks keep flip-flopping position.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What is Houston's offensive mindset in terms of what are you looking for in a quarterback? Now, when you take a Bryce Young, obviously it's not about size, because the dude's he's not a big dude. He's like kind of wispy in terms of body build and things like that. But does he have the other attributes? I mean, you know, Russell Wilson was 5'10". Drew Brees was barely 6 feet. They could play the game at a high level.
But this kid's 5'9", man.
He's
light. He's light.
He's 5'9".
Yeah.
So a nice wind blow by, man, he might take him going somewhere, bro.
Yeah, Barry, I don't know if you saw this because I know you were watching the Hendon Hooker one like I did, but I caught the tail end of Bryce Young where the Mannings, you know, kind of break him down. Peyton was interesting talking about him. He said his ability to stand in the pocket and maneuver and buy himself enough time and then make the throw and not be afraid to get hit is like Joe Burrow. He comped him to Burrow, Bryce Young, which is a pretty good compliment.
It is.
But the question is, Joe Burrow's a big man.
Yes.
This guy's not a big man.
And Joe Burrow can see over the line of scrimmage. Your offensive line's average 6'5". There's no way you can see over the line of scrimmage. If you put him in an offensive system the way Drew Brees played in New Orleans, Drew Brees rolls outside of the pocket to buy time and see the field a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm buying it. You talking about a dude 5'9", 5'10" in his cleats trying to see over an offensive line to see the lanes.
Yeah.
I ain't buying it. I'm sorry. I just ain't buying it.
I hear you. Well, it'll be interesting. So whoever's after those two, after that top pick is made, then the Texans pick. So they're going to have their choice of either one. And I think they're going to take either one of those. The question is going to be Indianapolis. Do they go Richardson, Levis? If you're listening to Baldy, do they go Hendon Hooker? Or do they go a different direction? I don't think it seems like the Colts are poised to take a quarterback too. It just feels like that. I would say the last two teams to have an impact for me, 4 would be Indianapolis with Steichen, and 5 would be Arizona with, that mess with Jonathan Gannon. So, all right.
You do look, bro. They set them up. It's all good. They set them up. Right, let me dangle this. Oh, he biting. Oh, got him now. You come and clean up this mess that these guys are left here. That's what you do. You just come clean this mess up. Yeah, that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing the worst part about those guys going into those places, man. The mess they have to clean up from the previous regime.
Yeah, it's hard enough, just coaching in that league. All right, so let's go with our inside linebacker. Yeah, 2 bad owners. You're right about that. Let's go with our inside linebacker draft prospects. For me, number 1 is pretty clear cut, and it's Jack Campbell out of Iowa. A big man, 6'5", 249, but also run a 4.6 and nose for the ball. Barrett, I know you're big on him too. So if you want to jump on him first, but where you rank him as your number 1?
He's one. He is a traditional inside linebacker. You know what I'm saying? They're not worried about putting him in pass coverage. They're not worried about anything but him going in and really just going in and being a solid linebacker, man. And I like all his measurables. I like how fast he is, man. To be a big guy like that, he's pretty fast to be a big guy like that. But he is a traditional inside linebacker. I love it, man. Iowa, you know what I'm saying, eating them, big corn fed. I'm going to go out there and build some type of guys. That's exactly what he is. Nicest guy in the world, too, man. Nicest guy in the world. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. What you want me to do? Go knock his head off? I got you. That's what he is, bro.
I'll tell you one I like even better. Is this kid Derek Hall from Auburn?
Yeah.
254 pounds in the middle of somebody's defense, sideline to sideline. He's not afraid to take on gaps. He's run stuffer. He is even though he ran 4.5, they say for a guy his size, he's considered elite in terms of his speed and agility. I don't know where he's going to go, but he reminds me of a smaller version of like a Levon Kirkland. Just a big body who's stout, who's not afraid to shed blocks, not afraid to take blockers head on. I agree with you. I think Campbell's going to be a really good pro, but I'm interested in seeing now. Some are saying this kid Hall could end up playing off the edges also as a 6'3", 255-pounder as well.
He's got the size.
People are torn whether is he an inside linebacker or is he an edge? And that's the kind of athleticism he has. He could serve a dual purpose in somebody's defense.
That's good. That is a good one.
He's good, but if you're going to go with my guy that I think is going to be the first linebacker off the board, I'm going to go with Drew Sanders from Arkansas. He can play inside and outside. He just couldn't get any burn while he was at Alabama. So he leaves Alabama, goes to Arkansas, and instantly becomes an all-world inside middle linebacker. 6'4", 235, runs well, good tackler. You can play him on the outside. You can play him on the inside. He can play the will linebacker. He can play the Mike linebacker. To me, I'd even entertain picking him up at the number 30 pick in this draft, bro. That's how highly I look at this kid.
Okay, that's a good name. That's a good name. All right, let me tell you this name will be fun to pronounce if the Eagles somehow get him. Henry To. 2-0.
Henry 2-0. Oh my goodness.
2-0.
Alabama. He's one of the Alabama guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's, you know, I think he was number 10. And talking about somebody that flashes all the time. This kid flashes all the time when you watch him, man. You know, and both he and the kid coming off the edge, you know, were like, you know, they were I mean, put it plainly, they were a bitch to try to get, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you couldn't block both of them, because you'd have him, whatever his name is, the 2-0-2-0-2-0, him going up the middle and blitzing up the middle in coverage. And then you have, what's his name? William, what's the kid's name? Number 31, Anderson.
Will Anderson. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Will Anderson coming from the outside. It was hard to block both of those guys. You got to pick your poison, who you want. Because when you look at him, first of all, he's the guy that stayed there all 4 years. He was a senior linebacker, played there all 4 years. Started two of the 4 years he's there. 6'1", 230, can run like the wind, and a born leader.
Mm-hmm.
He's a second day guy, but he's definitely somebody to come in and play for you for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Long time.
All right, a couple other names. I like this kid a lot too. The Dayon Henley kid out of Washington State, 6'2", 225, fast again. He runs a 4.5. He's a little bit lighter, but he's got some serious, sideline to sideline on him.
He's a converted wide receiver.
Yeah.
Converted wide receiver. They put him on the defensive side of the ball. They put him in safety first. They're like, look, this guy's a tackling machine. He makes his way down to linebacker. Now he's a middle linebacker there now. A middle linebacker. Not an outside, but a middle linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Really good player, man. Like you said, he's on the small side, 6'1", 225, but he's fast as all outdoors. He makes plays, very instinctual, can cover. You can tell his safety days. You can cover very, very well. He's like the total package. If you want, he's one of those, the new look linebackers that come out, the smaller guys that can both cover, play the will linebacker, they can cover and play, play side on the sideline in the run, takes great routes to and angles to cut off running backs. He's a good player. He's a really good player.
Okay.
But he's from that conference, man, the Pac-12. I can't get down with them, man, because they don't play defense the way people usually play defense. They're more pass first type of defensive guys, man. So
understood.
I'm not going to question his toughness, but I do question the Pac-12's toughness.
Mm-hmm. Gunnar, anybody else that jumps out of you? I got a couple other guys, but
Demarivian Overshin from Texas. All this kid does is make plays. As he's 6'3", 230. And they had him playing both inside and outside at the linebacking position. And you might say, well, 230 is too small to be playing inside linebacker. No, it's not in today's game. Nope. Because you're starting to see a lot of these 225, 230 type linebackers playing on the inside. What is it about? Quickness and lateral pursuit. Quickness and lateral pursuit. If we send you in a blitz, can you hit the hole before the hole closes? Can you track a running back coming down around the edge? This kid can do it.
Yep.
And he's played against some great competition, and he's been consistent for him. All he does is make plays. He's probably a second-day linebacker as well, middle round pick, but he could find himself an everyday home with the right team. He's the kind of guy you can play him as a rookie.
Yep, he's a guy. He's a freakish type of player as far as how he plays the game. Fast, quick, can run. He's got freakish abilities.
Good one, Gunnar. I like that. Let me throw a familiar name at you guys when you hear it. Noah Sewell.
Noah Sewell.
He's Penei Sewell's brother.
What?
He's a linebacker from Oregon who's got a lot of potential, who could be very interesting. Yes, he's Penei's brother. Penei Sewell, by the way, sounds like something you order at a restaurant, isn't it?
It is. Like a pasta.
Yeah, I'll have the Penei Sewell and in a side dish of, this doesn't it? I'm hungry when I say that name, when I say Penei Sewell. Anyway, he's Noah.
Noodles.
Yeah.
Sewell on
it. He's Noah Sewell. So just the name to keep in mind when you see him draft night, whatever it is, second day. I think he's going to end up being third day. That's one. Last one.
You also got the other kid. What is his name? From Wisconsin.
Oh, Nick Herbig.
Oh
yes,
Herbig. Herbig.
Yes. That kid and Jim Leonard's defense, man. All you talking about, dude? I can't tell how many times I see him walking to the sideline, blood streaming down his nose. This dude's a kamikaze, dude.
Yeah.
You know, his forehead cut across the forehead, cut across the bridge of his nose. When you talk about just football players who were born to play football, he's the kind of guy. I need you to lower your head and run through that concrete wall. You know, some of these young guys. Well, why you want me to do that? Why? Not this dude.
No.
You just
You got to tell him that.
No. This dude is a flat out football player, man. You know, a little bit slower, but instinctive, smart. He was one of the Wisconsin's best players for a couple of years.
So who does he sound like? He sounds like a guy
Derek
we just let leave.
Keekly.
TJ, no, he reminds me of
TJ Edwards.
TJ Edwards.
TJ Edwards.
Another Wisconsin product, yeah.
Yep, TJ Edwards. That's exactly what he is.
They turned him out, man. What the kid Sanborn was really good for the Bears last year. You know, they turned out some linebackers. Wisconsin does.
That Watt fella too.
Watt fella was okay. Yeah, those Watts have been all right. Last one, Trenton Simpson out of Clemson. He didn't flash quite as much as maybe like Trott's kid did, and whatever. But he's another real solid prospect, I think.
Yeah, he's a day 2 guy. Just because he went to Clemson, they're going to get him benefit of the doubt. Very raw, play the game. He's another athlete that can run around, make plays. Can he do it on a consistent basis? That's the thing. He needs more consistency to his game. If he had more consistency to his game, he'd be a really good player. It's the reason why Trott's son stood out the way he stood out. Because Trott was making all the damn plays. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's why he didn't make a lot of plays. Trott was there and diagnosed the thing. He's going to be a player next year.
Yeah, he's got to play one more year because of the rules. He's got to be 3 years removed from graduation. He was only a true sophomore for people who are wondering why Trotter's kid can't play.
So he's better than Trenton, as a player. Yeah. But Trott's son was the real deal.
Yep. And that's the same thing with Marvin Harrison's kid. He has to play one more year because he's only a true sophomore. So anyway, all right. So like we said, we'll preview. You guys have a preference tomorrow?
Let's go receivers.
Go receiver tomorrow.
Yeah,
right.
Okay. Let's do receivers.
Easy enough. All right, we'll go receivers tomorrow. We'll try to bring you a position group, as much as we can leading up to the draft here, which will be 2 weeks from tomorrow. 2 weeks from tomorrow. All right, let's come back.
Others?
Don't get me started. Didn't I leave enough out there with Sippos yesterday? Yeah. Oh man. We brought it up. Since you brought it up, but we talked about it yesterday on the show, and someone's going to grab up the Ariza kid. It'll happen somewhere. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know if the Eagles will do it. Someone's going to, and that's going to be really interesting to see what happens with him, the San Diego State kid who was in some hot water. Yeah.
Eagles can handle it. Their locker room can handle a guy like that coming in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as bad as they were in the Super Bowl, I think this city would open their arms up and welcome them with open arms.
Hey, look, if you brought Michael Vick in, you're not bashful about shy about bringing anybody else in who's had a problem,
Yep.
Right.
And Jeffrey Lurie, they did all their homework research. Big Dom did all his background checks when they brought Vick in before they made that decision. They know as well as it's probably better than anybody in the NFL how to go over a guy's background with a fine-tooth comb before they make a definitive decision on whether they want to bring him in here or not. And so if they brought him in here, it's because they have thoroughly done their homework, talked to him, talked to anybody associated with him since this incident surfaced, and they would feel 100% guaranteed that they are making the right decision if they brought him in here.
Yeah. And if they don't, there may be something else they know that
there you go.
We don't know.
Not out there. There you go.
All right, let's come back and we'll hit a bunch of different things. We'll circle back to some of the bigger stories of the day, get some chat section questions. So if you want to throw them out there, some crazy stuff in baseball, some crazy feats going on in the major leagues, which we'll talk about as well. Very good birthday day. As bad as yesterday was, the birthday's recovered today, and we got some movies too. So we'll do all that. When we come back, Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Razor technology. Yes, Razor technology, because the future of work is not remote or in person. It's a hybrid model. In facing this new reality, businesses must reimagine their workplaces to align with the preferences and needs of modern employees. Razor Technology helps businesses create a workplace that gives their teams flexibility in choosing how and where they put in their hours. Online platforms for communication and collaboration combined with secure and adaptable mobile devices are enabling hybrid meeting experiences that are nearly on par with in-person events, so everyone can feel like they're a part of the conversation. Employees with strong social connections with their team report better well-being, higher productivity, and stronger retention rates. Razor Technology helps growing organizations adapt to hybrid environments with industry-leading digital tools and insightful guidance that promotes efficiency and workplace satisfaction. Learn more by calling 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Back, final segment of the show. Time flies when you have fun. That's for sure. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis hanging out with you on this day. All right, let me hit a couple things with you. Ryan Mountcastle of the Orioles had himself a night. He had 9 RBIs. He hit a grand slam and had a 3-run home run in the Orioles win last night. That's a nice day. That's a nice production right there, man. You want to raise those numbers up real quick? Have that kind of night.
I don't know if he's eligible, but if I was him, I'd try to get a new contract like now.
Yeah, that's right.
Like right
Strike
now.
while the irons are hot. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So he goes crazy. He tied like Eddie Murray and a couple other big time. He's got 5 home runs on the season, so he's off to a pretty good start so far. That was a good one. I staying with baseball here. Tampa Bay's 11-0, guys. First time the 87 Brewers and the 82 Braves started 13-0, but this is basically the second best start since 1900 for what they're doing.
Jeez.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty doggone good, man. And I tell you what, their hitting and their pitching is really, you talk about everything. They're doing everything that the Phillies are not. Their hitting and pitching have complemented each other so well. And it's gonna stop eventually. But right now, you talking about me, they have everything you want and then some.
Yeah, and they're doing Zach Eflin, their highest paid players on the DL with a back.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's got a back issue.
Goodness.
Yeah, so they're crushing it right now. Phillies mentioned they're playing this afternoon. Just to circle back to the lineup, which I'm liking. I'm happy with what they're doing here lineup wise. So Stott's going to lead off. You go Bryson Stott, then Trey Turner. Bryson Stott at second, Trey Turner at short. DHing is Schwarber. Castellanos is in left. Is in right, batting cleanup. Real Muto catches. Marsh in center. Bohm at third. Cave in left. Clemens at first. Wheeler on the mound for the Phillies. They lost last night to the Marlins. They'll try and take 2 out of 3. As much as we're frustrated with the team in general, if they win this, it'll be 2 straight series wins, and then Cincinnati's next up, which should be another series win. The team they just played. You know what I mean? So that's. They're getting there a little bit, but there's a lot that needs to be cleaned up too. But I'll tell you the big thing, 2 things. 1, you want to see better base running. 2, Zach Wheeler has to start representing the top of this rotation because Nola's not doing it. That's for sure.
Can you imagine 6 mediocre starts between your number 1 and 2 pitcher and it's only April?
No. No.
The only thing that gives me hope right now is how they transitioned last year to Joe, and it wasn't until the beginning of June that they really started playing some good ball. We haven't made it that far yet, so I still have hope. There's still hope right now.
Yeah, I hear you.
Keep hope alive, Brooks.
That's it. That's it. All right, let's do some birthdays, and then I'm going to swing it back to an Eagles question that I have for you guys. All right, so we will begin. David Letterman. David Letterman is 76 years old. Yes, David Letterman, who's doing a lot of stuff still. He's got this new thingy with the Ireland that does an interview and a whole thing with U2. He has a sit-down interview that he does on Netflix with just one guest, basically for an hour. So he's staying pretty busy. Actor Andy Garcia, I've always liked him in anything he's in. He is 67.
Here. Yep.
Yeah, he's great. Great in a lot of stuff. Intense. He's an intense.
11.
Yes, he's an intense dude. He's he's one of those dudes who's just like when he flips it, you buying it. You're buying how angry the guy is. Claire Danes, who is talk about intense. She's a very intense actress. Homeland and a lot of other stuff.
Terminator 3.
Yep. Yeah. She's method too. She goes all in when she's in. So she's 44 today. Ed O'Neill, Al Bundy and Modern Family. Ed O'Neill is 77.
All right, which Ed O'Neill do you like best? Married with Children or Modern Family?
I have to go Married with Children slightly.
He was stupid funny back then, man.
I like
Polk High. He had every record for Polk High as a running back.
Yes.
Yes.
But the only thing is, man, he Peggy just didn't do it for me. He got the strong wife in Modern Family, bro.
Oh,
that's true. And the way he talked about women in front of his wife Peggy, man, it was hilarious.
Well, he was a women's shoe salesman.
Yeah,
and they'd always come in and give him a hard time. Let's just put some of the you couldn't. That show would have no prayer at running these days. No shot.
No.
But Ed O'Neill, yeah. I'm going to butcher this girl's name. All right, she's 29. Saoirse Ronan.
Oh, I got the pronunciation for you.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Saoirse. That's how it's pronounced.
That's how you say that?
Saoirse Ronan. Yeah, Saoirse. Yep.
Irish actress who's very good. She also, she's very. I've seen her, American roles and everything. She's very diverse.
See How They Run, Little Woman.
Yep.
She's in a lot of good movies.
Yeah, she's good. Brendan Urie, who is the lead singer for Panic at the Disco, is 36. Actress Jennifer Morrison is 44
Yep.
today. Brooklyn Decker, the former swimsuit model, married Andy Roddick, is 36.
Is she strong, Rob?
Yes. She used to be a lot stronger. I don't
know. What? Today? Even today?
Yeah, strong. Still strong. Yeah. Yeah. She's in the Adam Sandler movie with Jennifer Aniston too. Woof. Oh my God. There's some that's one to just dig into if you're flipping around. Anyway, Tom Clancy, the great author, is 47.
Dude, his books, The Hunt for Red Hunt for Red October,
yeah,
Clear and Present Danger, Patriot Games, The Sum of All Fears.
Yep.
My goodness, the money he made. He had, of his books, 17 were bestsellers, and his books total sold over 100 million copies worldwide.
Wow. And so many adaptable for movies too.
For movies, yep.
Yeah. He's born in 1947. Yeah, he's prolific, that guy. The singer for the Partridge Family passed away a few years ago, David Cassidy.
Yeah.
Born on this day, 1950. Sadly, died pretty young. Vince Gill, the country singer, is 66. Derek's favorite, Tiny Tim, from back in the day.
I knew you were going to say that.
Go through the tulips. Yes. One of the weirdest cats that has ever walked the face of the earth. Okay. Born on this day, 1932. Shannon Doherty from 90210 is 52 today. Beverly Cleary, another great author, was born on this day in 1916. I didn't realize Herbie Hancock is 83.
That's right.
What?
One of my all-time favorite musicians. Indeed.
Oh, Beverly Hills Cop, right?
Yep. One of my all-time favorite jazz musicians, man.
I can't believe he's that old. It's crazy. Dan Lauria, who is a really good actor, who was the father on The Wonder Years. I saw him on Broadway as Vince Lombardi, and he was great. He was great. It was basically a two-man production, and he was awesome. He really nailed Vince Lombardi. That's all I have. Actors and actresses. What do you have, Derek, for the birthdays?
You have Christina Moore from That 70s Show. She's 50. You also have Jesse James Decker, country music and pop singer. She's 35. John Hagee, one of the biggest televangelists out there in the world today. He's 83. Paul Rust, who played in Inglourious Bastards and Pee-wee's Big House, 42.
Yeah.
Ted Ginn Jr. It's 38 now.
Former and a good long time kick returner, and yeah.
Do you know he was timed in the 40 at 4.28?
He was crazy fast. That dude.
Iowa State.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Nate Solder, offensive lineman, 35.
A veteran, I think, as well.
Yeah.
He was a veteran. Yep.
Carl Nassib is 30.
Did you know about Carl Nassib?
What about him?
He's a Westchester guy.
Westchester guy, but he was one of the first players to ever come out the closet.
Yes.
As being gay.
Yes.
And he did it at the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
He's still playing right now.
Yeah, good for him, man. That took guts.
Well, his brother was a quarterback for the Giants briefly.
Was it Matt Nassib?
Matt? I did a one-on-one with Ryan Nassib. Did an interview with him one-on-one. Matter of fact, the first time I ever met Ryan Nassib was at the Senior Bowl down in Mobile, Alabama. And, we're waiting for the players to finish practicing. And I walk up to him, and he's talking to a scrum of reporters. And he looks at me, and he stops and goes, "Excuse me, guys. I got to talk to my man, D. Gunn, over here." I had never met him before.
He watched you growing up.
Watched me growing up. And
That's awesome.
The first thing he said was, "Dude, I can't believe I'm standing here with you." And I'm like, and we talked for a good 10 minutes before I'll say, "Oh, by the way, can I interview you?" And other reporters are standing there like, really? Can we get back to what we were doing here? And we we did about a 10-minute interview after talking for 10 minutes. But yeah, I remember, and he ended up getting drafted by the Giants. Never really panned out.
He hung around for a few years. Yeah, Carl's had a good career, though. He's out of Penn State. Yeah.
You want to talk about athletes who had talent, who wasted that talent, and he had a brief stint with the Eagles. His birthday is today. Dorial Green Beckham.
Oh, man.
30 years old today.
30 years old today.
He had the body. He looked like Tarzan, and you know the rest.
Played and played like what? Played like who?
You know the rest. You know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But, dude, he was 6'5", had the body type. He couldn't, and he was a high draft pick.
Yeah.
From Mizzou.
Yeah.
Yep.
and couldn't stay with the team. People
he
gave
was-
up on him so quick.
He was not that guy.
No.
No.
And
Not by any stretch.
Matt McGorry from the Orange is the New Black is 37.
Okay.
That's
Barrett,
it.
you got any birthdays you want to throw in there? We'll dig into the
Did you
movies.
guys get Nicholas Brendan?
No.
No.
He's 52. He was from Buffy the Vampire, so that's probably the
Okay.
only one I got. You guys already did Charles Napier, so
Did we?
No. We did not.
okay. Charles Napier, Rambo, Silence of the Lamb. He plays a
Ah.
great cop.
Oh, he's
You know what I'm saying?
good. That guy.
Remember the
Yeah.
cop that
Yeah.
when he took the face off and all that stuff?
Yeah, he's a hard ass.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's good.
And then I'm not even. I was gonna say Brad Miller, the journeyman center, but he's not worth me doing it.
Purdue guy. All right, movies. There's some good ones. 42, Chadwick Boseman, which we've talked about a lot on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Came out in 2013. If you haven't seen it, you should. It's that good. Really good. Really well done. 1979, the first of the Mad Maxes
Yes.
came out. With
Yes.
it really kind of broke Mel Gibson's career. You know,
Yeah, it
that was
did.
his first big one. Fear with Mark Wahlberg, 1996.
Yep.
Bend It Like Beckham, 2002.
Iconic.
James Giant Peach is 1996 as well. Hellboy, 2019. I
Yep.
think that was
Fan.
yeah.
I watched the first one and that was it. I was
Wasn't
done
that
with
was that a remake of the original? That came out. Was that the first one that came?
those. That was the first one.
Oh, it was. I thought for
Yeah,
some
that-
reason that came out a long time ago, but maybe not.
And then they made the mistake of making like 4 or 5 more of them.
Ugh.
No, they only made 2 more after that. They're both
Two
all
more?
both of them are good. Yeah.
That's
the Golden
too
Army.
many. Yeah.
Golden Army. I like them.
See, Barrett likes that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, after the first one, like, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. All right. You got anybody else? You got any more?
Yeah, you missed Desperately Seeking Susan, 1985.
Madonna.
And Scary Movie 5 came out in 2013.
Okay. Yeah, they
You
just
like
made
you
it
probably like that, didn't you?
I did like that one. I like
I,
that.
hated- I didn't like any of the scary movies.
They were stupid. That's why I liked it. They were so stupid.
Yeah.
You know what they remind me of? Similar to those Sharknado movies.
Oh God, it wasn't that bad, was it?
Not quite, but you get my point.
I get you. I got you. But somehow they must make money because they keep making them.
Absolutely.
Over and over and over again. All right, Eagles. So we talked a little bit about the schedule. You know what the feel is here in terms of do they take a run at a Devin White, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think we're looking at? I mean, other than whoever they draft, are we looking at another major move for any spot? Because Howie does like to make these moves later.
Yes. I'd
At
have
what
to say
position
yes.
at what position you think is most needed?
Linebacker,
And safety.
which you'll get bargain basement price.
Yeah.
I can also see them going out and getting a number 3 receiver. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to be a take the top off type receiver. Maybe it's a blocking receiver.
I agree.
A utility receiver.
Yep.
You know, to come in and do everything, you know, do the dirty work, you know, blocking sometimes, catching, you know, the crucial first downs, you know, somebody like that, you know, somebody consistent that they can rely on.
A Swiss Army knife receiver.
Yeah.
I can see that. I agree. I can see it being another Zach Pascal type, not a big name,
Right.
but a solid name. Yeah,
Mhm.
I
Exactly.
can see that happening.
Yeah, and that's a cost-effective move, right? Somebody like
Yep.
that's probably not costing you an arm and a leg,
Absolutely.
and that
And
would make sense.
It will be a direct message to Quez Watkins also.
Yep.
It would be a definite message to Quez. Your days are numbered, bud.
Towards the end of the season, he didn't even get any burn. He wasn't getting burned at all, man.
Nope. And then he gets in
Yeah.
the Super Bowl and drops a sure catch. You don't think the team will forget about that real quick.
Well,
Right.
they are thin. I mean, you get past the top two. You know
So
what's there?
I was just looking at the string. The string was like, if anything was to happen to AJ or Smitty,
It's true.
Oh, it's a good
You know,
point.
and that's the other thing. They were so healthy last year for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yes, they were.
They went
Even
in
when
with
they
only
lost
one.
players.
They went in with really just one injury, and that was the injury to Derek Barnett, in which a starter
Yep.
wasn't playing in the Super Bowl. Everybody
That's
was
crazy.
healthy enough to play. In
That's
the Super
right.
Bowl.
That's
That's
crazy.
right.
That's great.
And
And
that
that's why.
includes No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's when you talk about drafting certain positions, people say, "Oh,
Right.
you're fine there." Well, you're set. You're assuming that people aren't going to get hurt.
Right.
You can never have enough depth at any position.
Yeah.
Never.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you're right. I didn't even think about that. If you lose AJ or Devontae for a significant period of time based on what the roster receiver wise looks like right now,
yeah,
you're in trouble.
Not good.
Done.
Not
You're in
good.
trouble.
Yeah, that's
Done.
for sure. All right, we got to wrap it up. Want to thank everybody in the chat section, everybody streaming, everybody listening. Our guy Tone doing.
What are you getting ready to do right now, Brooks?
I got to go down and do a draft show. That's why I'm at work now. I got to go do a draft show.
What are you doing,
All right.
Robbie?
A mock draft show.
I am driving my daughter to meet my wife at her school because they are headed down to South Carolina and Charleston to make the final decision on where we're going to college.
Nice.
Yes.
I just heard all the noise downstairs. All the grandkids are back from the zoo. There's a zoo in Rising Sun, Maryland, where you can pet giraffes and feed giraffes and stuff. So now the chaos has started. So I get to go downstairs.
It's going to be the zoo at the gun house now.
They are amped right now. Then.
Yeah. They probably had some candy.
Oh, they're jacked up. I'm hearing them now. They're bouncing off the walls right now.
Yep,
That includes a 7-month-old.
Awesome.
They're bouncing off the wall. So I'm going to go down there and play ringleader for a while.
Hey, look. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Have fun. All right. We will see you guys same time tomorrow. Stay tuned for the National Football Show with Dan Cilio for Sports Take. Thanks for hanging with us.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.